We're doing another one. Oh my god. I really need to do my nails, but y'all are savage, okay? Sending me the culprit. I would I received a few messages that Destiny was talking about this debate, so we'll watch it or whatever. Y'all don't have to just send the clip of somebody saying something. You can send me the link. It took me a minute to fucking find this shit. Not that long, but still. Obfuscating. I can't even fucking say the word that I need. You know that O word? I was going to review the Pixie and Andrew debate tomorrow when I could actually like lay some shit out. I haven't watched it yet, but like I'm tired. But I was thinking, I was like, you know what? Whenever I say I'm gonna plan, or I don't even have to say it, when I know I'm gonna plan a video, I find that I will end up actually planning it way too long. So I figured we could kind of combine this one. Probably gonna still have to do it in parts, but I figured it's probably better if I just react to it live. I'm not a planner, and when I try to plan, I suck at it. So, hello everybody. So, I didn't download wait, who said that? Wait, fuck, Aaron. Obfuscate. 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 It feels like it should be obfuscate. I'm just kidding. My coffee deflated. You know when you put instant coffee in a cup and do splashes of warm water, and then I use a whisk because I don't have one of those like automatic, whatever they call it, foaming things. I don't know. So I'll like whisk it and it turns into like a super fluffy concoction, kind of like a cappuccino, and it deflated. And it's like there's no sugar in it. There's powdered sugar, but that doesn't really sweeten it. I may be sleepwatching. If you're new to my channel, welcome, bitches, where I like to criticize everybody but my damn self. Or we talk about whatever the fuck I want. I'm only skilled in a few areas. Bartending's one of them. Failed. And then the other one's debate, just from experience. And I find that how do you I think people no. If I had to I think the more that people understand maybe something like a structured debate, they can better assess who the fuck won it, first of all. And I think it's just a good skill to have to be able to follow arguments in this way. Something that I've noticed is people say things like, he's bad faith when he's not, or like Alex uses the word obfuscate. Sorry, Alex. I can't even say the damn word. And even if you're somebody that's in a debate and you believe these things about your opponent, for instance, you're setting yourself up to fail. Just telling you right now, setting yourself up to fail. So it may be easier to, I don't know, maybe something I tell you today will help you better address even interpersonal issues, okay? She's like, I don't wanna. Obfuscate. Obfuscate. Okay. So, Destiny, who I'm scared of. Hold on. He, I guess, August or whoever his editor is, edited this clip recently. You're fine, honey buns. You're good. You're good. Wait, where is it? Bye. I'm going to put it over here. So I have like 20 tabs open. Share screen. Titled Andrew Wilson's Ridiculous Argument in Feminism Debate. Was it ridiculous? Let's see.
The average man can survive in the forest a lot better than the average woman. They're just stronger, right? They're built stronger.
I don't know what, like, have you seen like the Boy Scouts or people that do like camping? Like, it's not about just being strong. Like, it's such a retarded take. Like, what do you think it means to survive in the wilderness? Like, having the ability to box bears? Like, what do you think you're actually doing? If I had to guess with very limited information, my guess is it probably has to like know about like, well, how do you set like a tent up? Okay, how do you identify safe to eat or foraging or whatever? Or how do you keep track of like your or where you are and how do you see? It's probably, I doubt much of it has to do with like, can you bench press 225 pounds? Like if a jackal comes up to your camp, are you able to kick dirt hard enough into its eyes to blind it? Like, how, I feel like anytime you're in a confrontation like this, you've already made a huge mistake.
Just do tasks that most average women can't do.
Yeah, but I also
she should ask him. She should push him on that. Give me an example. You're dropped in a forest. What are the first things that you do for survival, Andrew? Tell us.
Put mud on my face. Duh. Tori, what the fuck? Because the sun is going to drain your motherfucking water. And what if you can't find any?
Yeah, what, do you punch the wood until it becomes a campfire? Please tell us, what is the first thing that you do? Like,
acquired prerequisite strength, right?
Well, I think women do have the strength to live in a forest, just like how men have the strength to live in the forest. But I understand your point. You're saying, let's say there's like a heavy log or something you have to move out of the way. A man is going to be a lot better at that task than a woman.
Well, no, it's not just that. It's just even tool making requires physical strength.
I don't even know what tool making he would be talking about.
Like a spear or something?
Yeah, but I mean, like...
Does he know? Also, heads up, by the way, the whole point of tools is to make your job easier. Tools are literally made so you don't need a lot of strength to use them. That's why things like torque and leverage and all these tool ideas exist. If you use a tool for a thing and it's really difficult to use the tool, then you need a different tool, okay?
I have to be honest, I haven't listened to this whole clip yet. I only have the part where y'all sent me whatever the fuck he was saying about Andrew, but I have to look at the whole debate thing. But
if you do any kind of manual labor,
because I don't know where this conversation started,
and
I'm just realizing
I learned this like, I think it was like day 3. I don't even remember what I was doing. I think I was trying to disengage carpet from a corner of a wall, and there's a kicker that you can use to do it, or there's like a stretcher you can use. And I remember I spent like 5 minutes trying to kick this carpet out of the corner. And I think Dale was the guy with me that day. And he's watching me do this for like a minute. And then finally he's like, "You having some trouble there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is really hard. The carpet's not disengaging because you've got there's tack strips all around the room or whatever to disengage the carpet." And he's like, and I remember he told me something. I guess it made sense. He's like, "The whole reason why we have trucks full of tools is to make this shit easy. Who are you trying to impress? Like using the kicker to disengage the carpet? Like go get the stretcher or whatever, push one lever. There's a reason why we bring it on our truck. Why would you sit here and fight with this when you can just get an easier tool to make the job easier? That's the whole reason we have tools." I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure." My uncle was the same too. Yeah, I guess. I didn't learn that until later from him though.
I can still make a tool. Maybe it'll take me a little bit longer, but it's not going to be the end all be all. But the point that I'm trying to get across, or what I'm trying to say, is that
what tools are you making? I'm just so curious what he's referring to. What tool making thing are we talking about here?
Dice.
Assuming that they had a feminism debate, it looks like on the screen it says watch party. So it's on Andrew's channel, Andrew Wilson versus Pixie, Feminism in the West, hosted by whatever. Okay. Probably like, what is feminism? What is feminism fighting for? Would probably be a good proposition or something. They're talking about the strength thing. This is usually when they're the person, let's say Andrew, is arguing that like feminism is pointless or something. Or no, let's say that feminism It could be an equality, equity debate. It could be like so many different things. I'd have to know what the definition of whoever starts or whatever gives. But in terms of red pill or like the area of red pill, you whenever you see somebody arguing against a feminism or a feminist, it's going to be something like, okay, proposition definition's going to have something like fighting for equality, right? Pretty simple. It's like, okay, if you're fighting for equality, why don't feminists work man jobs that require strength? Assuming like, it's like, when women are given all the choice in the world, they still migrate to jobs that don't require strength. So that implies like a biological difference. Sometimes you'll see it with the strength argument. Sometimes you'll see it in regards to throwing in particular, like spear throwing. Sometimes people will bring up surviving in a forest. You guys remember that show that was talking about, it was like men versus women, and women died in the first episode. I didn't see it. Obviously, I'll take their word for it. And it essentially was they contaminated their water supply, something stupid. I don't know, something like that. And the whole, what you took away from it was women cannot survive without men, essentially. Other ways that people tackle this issue is we don't need men anymore. What are men good for is something you will often hear. And the only thing that men can provide, technically, in terms of debate, okay, I've written these many times, okay, is the strength, protection that exceeds like female capacity in a sense. Don't come for me. I'm just telling, okay? I agree with it, so, but probably not for the reasons you think. So that essentially, without knowing the context, I would say that they're probably in a biological difference sort of argument is what Andrew's saying right now. Bad faith, it's unclear. Like, to me, bad faith is somebody that's like just arguing to argue. But that can also be somebody in cognitive dissonance. You see it often. It happens to the best of us. Again, you need the context though, right? Like if we know the proposition, we have our definition, it's been agreed upon, then you can anticipate the exact arguments. It's really that easy. You think, what are the top 3 arguments that support my side, assuming I'm Andrew? What are the top 3 arguments that support my side, Pixie? And then if I can do that and I'm not them, well, if I can do it, both of them can do it, which means that both of them should anticipate all of those arguments and have like formal ways to refute it, right? So it's hard to say if it's bad faith, right? Do you see how that gets hard? Because it's like if I anticipate what they're going to say, it doesn't matter what I participate in regards to his leading questions, right? The only people that call it bad faith are looking at it from, damn it, my side's being stupid. So the only way I can justify what's going on is by calling them out for being bad faith. At least that's what it seems like. I'm not saying that he's saying that. I'm just saying from observation. So we'll keep going.
On whether there's a chance that the guy is like insane and wants to like kill me or
Pretty sure
do bad
sperm
things
next.
If you're such a savage, you can live in a forest. If you're just dropped in a forest with no equipment and you can just survive in there, then why aren't you savage enough to take care of yourself from a man?
These are 2 totally different types of challenges. It's like so retarded. It's like people think that real life is an RPG, and it's like once you hit level 52, you've unlocked physics, chemistry, and engineering, and then when you hit like level 70, now you've unlocked survival and like hand-to-hand combat.
Irrelevant. Okay. No offense, Destiny. Irrelevant. Getting too hyper focused on the wrong thing. let's take a step back, assuming that you listened to everything I said. If Andrew is asking me something like that, I can assume that we probably agreed on his definition of things without pushback. Because, well, he paused it, so I'd have to see how she responded, you know? But like, if it's stupid, like Destiny's saying, then they can say that. But if they don't catch that, I'm going to assume that they agreed on a definition that maybe they didn't put thought into. Why does the definition matter? Well, if you're in the negative side, in particular, in this, what's feminism fighting for, whatever it is, assuming that you agree that feminism is doing something which is going to be the unpopular opinion on whatever podcast, I'm putting things together. Should I assume? Probably not. Okay, it could bite me in the ass right now, but I think we've all seen enough videos where we can kind of see who's in the affirmative, who isn't. And it's kind of like who challenges who, I guess, but we don't have context, so it's unclear. But knowing that she may not catch that sort of example, it doesn't tell me that it's a stupid example. It tells me that he's leading it in a certain way, assuming she doesn't catch it right away, right? Like if I give a definition and then let's say feminism is fighting for the, if I was in Pixie's position, you probably want to be more, see, it's tricky because if you're too broad, then you get these sort of ideological arguments presented that are kind of hard to refute. But if you say that feminism is a movement and ideology that focuses primarily on women's rights advocacy, I would probably put and eventually equity in some way. And you're probably like, Tori, how the fuck? The reason I say that is because a lot of the arguments that would go against the first part of the definition that it gave, they could be refuted with that component. And a lot of times people will argue, well, if it's all about women's rights and it's all about equal opportunity, why are they still fighting for XYZ? But if you include that equity thing in the definition, that argument becomes irrelevant. You see how that works? I hope I explain it okay, since we're not really watching the video yet, but Jesus. Anyways, if I was Pixie, sorry, I don't think I landed that. Would you want a broad definition or a narrow one? And the question is, you must know your opponent. Like if I could give anybody one tip of advice, it's not knowing the certain ways you could logically make an argument. Fuck that shit. You need to know your opponent, because if you know the opponent, then you can really know what their main arguments are, and that's all you have to know. You know, you need to know it, how to refute it, and better evidence to support your position to make it more compelling and more persuasive to the audience. That's it. So knowing, I know Andrew's probably going to be like, women can't vote, right? But why does he think that? Probably for like the enforcement arm. So if I know that Andrew's going to say something in that regard, I would have to show evidence to the contrary. How many men get hurt on the job? Sorry, I'm laughing because it's like, oh no, I don't think we've ever heard like at least publicly, a way to refute some of more, I say red pill trad type arguments, but you know the area if I say it that way. It's like, uh-oh. I wonder who they go to find tips on how to debate somebody like Andrew Wilson.
Totally different skill sets for totally different things, you know?
It doesn't matter.
What is it? There's a very big difference between being in a forest, like trying to scavenge for your own,
Shut up.
like hunt for fish, whatever, start a fire versus having somebody
How would you
actively
hunt for
attack
fish
you.
if you were in a forest?
If there's like a, what is it, like a freshwater stream or lake or something.
Yeah, how would you do it?
Ideally, I would find some sort of like small insect or bait or something like that. Try to do something.
Don't play this game. Pixie, if you don't know how to fish, I don't know how the fuck to fish. Don't act, just say, I don't know. How the fuck would you do it? Have you gone fishing before? Do you know how to fish?
Maybe with like the lining of like leaves or something, basically like a little rod maybe, and use that to try to lure in the fish.
That's how you would try to catch fish in a forest?
I'm not an expert at catching fish, but if our ancestors did it for thousands of years, I'm sure that I can figure out a way through trial and error.
If I were to take what you're saying at face value, that necessarily through...
What am I hearing?
On this as well. This is all CDC information, by the way. If I were to take what you're saying at face value, that...
It's a watch party. Oh, this is the Crucible. Oh, me. I thought... Oh, I didn't even realize what channel it was on.
Necessarily through epigenetic leaks, that men and women, by the way, would suddenly begin to have different interests.
Not suddenly, it would be gradual.
Well, but how, you said, what do you mean gradual? Like how long? Because you said it could happen very quickly.
Well,
she said epigenetic changes can happen quickly, but an epigenetic change doesn't necessarily imply like a whole change in like preference for jobs or whatever. Or
are they talking about like systemic barriers? This is cut up. Like he's saying epigenetic what? Like, oh my God, what are you talking about? With all due respect. The reason I say that is because, like, what are they talking about gradually over time she can catch the fish? Or is she talking gradually over time, like, interests to jobs can change? I have no idea how they just cut that clip up. And then where epigenetics is coming from. I'm confused.
You said, what do you mean gradual? Like how long? Because you said it can happen very quickly. Well, how quickly?
What
It could, theoretically. Or certain changes could happen within a generation.
Yeah. So
okay, it sounds... certain things can happen within a generation. If I'm good faith, it sounds like they're talking about like how feminism would tackle systemic barriers, assuming it's in the definition. That would be a good idea. And so what I'm assuming, if I have to guess, I probably should have played this in reverse. Now I feel dumb. Can you see changes in women taking more manly jobs, for instance? Like, is it that there's really discrimination going on and women secretly have this biological strength we've never got to test out? Like the only thing that's really affecting us is that we haven't really pushed women into it, but we could make like empowerment programs and marketing things and put them up on schools, and all of a sudden women would accept jobs. There's some truth to that, probably not to the extent. And the reason I say that is, well, why the fuck do you pick a job? We tend to pick jobs that we're relatively good at. And if we're gonna go based off of like, when it really comes down to it, when we have all the choice in the world, why the fuck would we pick something that we are not top at in our sector, whatever it is, you know? And like, it's probably gonna have to do with some biological difference, right? So if what I'm saying is on par, which probably is, I've heard many of these fucking debates, Andrew's going to say probably something like, when in history has that changed something? I don't know. Pixie could be like, look at the eating disorder epidemic. I'm laughing because it's like bizarre, but in less than a couple years, we were able to decrease the amount of eating disorders in a time where they added more caveats to like the DSM-5. I don't know if it's going to support somebody's argument, because again, we don't really know the proposition, the definition, and that shit, but not really sure why he would pause it to say what like that. I don't know. Unclear.
CDC info. Most female jobs is according to the BLS. These jobs have. But this is CDC info. Most female jobs is according to the BLS. These jobs have the highest percent.
As a society as a whole, if labor is less important because we have machinery to do it instead, you would find both men and women more in service sector jobs, which
But
we
you're
have
not.
seen.
You're seeing mostly women in those jobs, and that's what I'm going to show you.
Yeah, no, the amount.
Isn't all of society tending towards more service jobs? What is he citing here? He said BLS and CDC. BLS is Bureau of Labor Statistics. I don't know if they actually publish stuff.
Which is fucking reputable, Destiny, with all due sometimes I feel like, and maybe I do this too from their view. I don't know. It seems like it's like down the middle right now, but Andrew just gave a pretty reputable stat, assuming that they're talking about the jobs. I think we clarified that just now. Pixie's making the argument that, well, now we have machines. It's similar to the gun argument. It's like men are stronger than us, but we have that gun as an equalizer now. So in the realm of jobs, though, it's, well, we have machines that do most shit. That's a bad argument just right off the bat, girlfriend. And there's a couple reasons for it. I think last time I checked, 30, 30, 1, 1, 1. There's 5 main things for why men get hurt on the job. 30% is falls. 30% is sprains, twisting an ankle, which sounds like, how do I even, sometimes I remember shit, y'all. And then it goes like 1%, maybe 1%, 0.5%, or all 1%. And there's 3 more things. One of them is misusing heavy machinery. So it's there. Is it the top thing? No, but it's like, even men that are strong, well, actually, it could support what you're talking about. Wait a minute. Actually, like, could go both ways. Okay, she's saying that, hey, we have machines now that kind of equalize strength in some regard, right? Like, the machines are doing most of the work. Andrew could refute it by either being bad faith and misusing the stat, which I haven't seen him do. A more strategic and honest way to do it would be to say the opposite number. So although it's like 1%, how much of that sector? It could be like a 90% sector of that 1%, which it's like, well, Tori, I don't fucking understand what the fuck that means. Another thing you could do is translate that 1% to, like, how many people? Well, 440,000 men annually misuse and handle heavy machine operation. Imagine how many women would be on workers' comp. We already got this amount of males, and they have the strength. Something like that. I don't know. This is why it's important to, like, know. Like, if you know Andrew's arguments, you wouldn't go there, you know?
Studies. They might publish like summaries of different job types or something, maybe, but I don't know if the BLS, they might actually. I mean, BLS study on women versus men's job. It'd be nice to be like referenced, like an actual, like the names of a study or something.
I don't know.
I feel like you're mostly just going to see them publishing like just like little tidbits of data.
What?
Of men who are now like in STEM in general, like the United States as a whole is a service-based
Men have always
economy.
been in STEM. Men have always been dominating STEM.
Not always. We have seen.
No, men have always been dominating STEM.
I'm saying that
He's playing a game here. God, he's so bad faith.
That's not bad faith. So we're talking about male-dominated jobs. Now STEM is brought up. I was hardly paying attention. I think Andrew said, either she said, well, STEM something, and Andrew's like, no, that's like male-dominated, which it is. As of recently, we've seen those barriers be broken a bit, but STEM doesn't necessarily deal with strength. It can, right? It can. Aeronautical, I don't know how to say it, engineering. you're fixing planes, okay? Are you in STEM? I think so. Like, I really don't know if I'm being honest. The top 3 male-dominated industries: construction, automotive. I don't know if this could also be the aeronautical shit, but then STEM. And STEM to me, I feel like is more like it's kind of mixed with the automotive shit in terms of airplanes, at least. I'm just a girl, okay? um like, how is that bad faith? You mean just because he's right? Like, okay, whatever.
Okay, this is boring. Men have always been dominant in STEM. Yeah, as a percentage of the people in the field, they have been, but as a percentage of like all of your men in society, more and more people, I'm pretty sure, are moving towards like college educated work. That's been like a trend in society, like the necessity.
So women dominate universities. They are out earning degrees faster than men. Does that mean that men just don't have fucking jobs? Of course not. We would need to look at unemployment for that. Are more men on unemployment? Maybe. But maybe it's because they don't get a fucking degree. Like, plumbing, electrician, trade jobs are predominantly done by men. I don't like to say it. I'm all for a woman being a badass bitch and the man being a house husband. Believe me, y'all. But like, facts are facts. But if I was in Destiny and Pixie's position, let's say, and wanted to argue that, I could definitely find something for you. That's really hard to refute. And it sounds like she's walking herself into it, which is even worse. To me, at least somebody who watches debates, again, and writes them, I have to watch the full thing, which we'll do. I'd have to know her arguments to know, like, is she just that stupid? Probably not. She's probably intelligent, but probably just not trained in debate. Once you learn the other person's arguments, you can't lose, y'all. If you lose, you just didn't do the work, and I don't feel bad. You know? You have Andrew Wilson. You could almost hear him say the arguments if you're very triggered by this type of shit. You can hear it in your head. Write it out. My God.
For a college degree has grown.
Write it out and ask yourself, what is the number one evidence I would use to support this argument if I were Andrew? How can I refute that number? It's that easy. It's really not hard. It's just a lot of people don't sit down. People get egos. They're like, I could just do it. Well, then you look dumb. Okay. I believe me, I've heard all reasons for different things that you support. They're not good unless you can actually write it down on paper and refute somebody. If you can't do that, you probably don't want to look stupid.
This time is going on for jobs, but he's being bad faith in here.
That doesn't matter because
No,
I'm
he's
saying
not.
that when we compare manual labor jobs to service jobs, we have seen a vast increase in service-based jobs versus manual labor jobs in the United States. That is just objectively true.
Yeah, that women do, which is the exact same jobs they were
men
always
have
doing.
also done more service-based jobs.
Yeah.
More people are lawyers, doctors, software, even just
wait. Men have always been in those fields.
He's obfuscating. He knows he's being bad faith here. Okay, I think he knowingly is. He's trying to play mind games here. He can't be this stupid. I don't think he is. I think he's knowingly playing word games here. Like, men have always done these jobs. No. She's talking about a percentage increase in the type of work that we do, like the conversion to like a service economy versus a manufacturing economy or whatever, right?
More people are lawyers, doctors, software.
Interesting. Just by the tone of voice, she's probably wrong. When people are in a debate and somebody, and I'm not just saying this because her voice is higher, but when you start to kind of, you're probably in the wrong. Because you're starting to see that your arguments are not valid. It's not that the other person's leading you this way. It's that you haven't thought it out. Could that be projection? Maybe. You've just seen enough of this shit. You gotta keep your cool all the time. It's a lot easier said than done. But you can't just point blame and say, he's just whatever the fucking word is. It's like, no, you're just unprepared. Period.
where even just
wait. Men have always been in those fields. Always been in those fields.
Maybe I'm not explaining my point clearly enough.
No, you are. He's just being bad faith and he's trying to trip you
No,
up on it.
you're
The
not.
point
You
that I'm
made
trying
a
to get
dumb
across
argument.
is that as manual labor has become less important in the United States, there's an increase of men doing more of those jobs.
I'm not trying to say that smugly. Watch me if you want to, if you're on the other side and you're like, I want to dismantle Andrew Wilson, you probably should take my word for what I'm fucking saying right now. Okay. I don't think listening to, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe after this video, you can be your own fucking, you're welcome here if you want to be.
So before it might have been like, hey, maybe I'm gonna go.
But why don't we?
Wait, let me finish.
Yeah, but this makes the argument.
No,
makes
please let me
sense.
finish.
I'll steel man the argument. That
You
we
can't. Okay, let's see what a steelman is.
You know, I understand it.
Okay.
The argument that you're making is, as these other service sectors have opened up, men are gravitating into those service sectors instead of just manual labor, right?
That was great.
Kind of, I guess.
Yes.
Then how come women aren't
Destiny.
gravitating towards the manual labor sections?
Because everybody's leaving the manual labor jobs, right? Everybody is moving out of that into more service-based work. No? I shouldn't say service, actually, because I guess some of those jobs could be like if you're a maid or whatever, that would count as service work, right?
Because the manual labor sections have been either taken over by technology,
No, they haven't. Has roofing been taken over by technology?
No, but what is it? It doesn't necessarily. I'm turning off.
Has construction been taken over by technology? Roofing has even gardening, basic gardening.
Construction been taken over by technology?
No.
You don't think that construction hasn't been like significantly changed or improved by the presence of technology on work sites? It must have been, no? I feel like I see a lot of crazy tools, and when they were building the fucking building next to my apartment complex in Miami, I'm sure there are still lots of like manual labor jobs available, but I'm sure that technology has changed a lot of this as well, no?
Tell that to the men on disability right now who have fallen off a roof and become paralyzed. My ex-boyfriend's dad, that happened to him. It's a very common thing. You fall. That's not a better argument against what he's saying. The better thing would be, in the beginning, I'm assuming, okay, is to address these biological differences in your definition so that everything Andrew's saying right now becomes irrelevant. That's how you fucking dismantle that. But no, we will just say, it's just bad faith. You're not helping anybody.
That'd be my guess. But...
What about lawn mowing, lawn care? In fact, almost all labor I can think of, which now is heavily inundated with machines, still totally dominated by men. Almost no women.
But there's a lot less men in average doing those jobs compared to before because you have had machinery replaced. If it took
when we get a fucking Roomba doing roofs, call me. What could go wrong? Do you guys know how new projects, new developments, homes in particular, have you ever seen them go up really quickly? So maybe a group of dudes that are like, hey, I can get these tools, the wood and all of this at a really cheap price, but I don't want to start a construction company and I have people that want homes. Oh, dude, I'll do it. I got free. Great. Not saying that they're not trained. Okay. Hear me out. This is more like, I don't know, like an LLC, right? You have somebody who's a contractor who knows how to do some shit, knows some buddies that can do some shit, right? You can cut the cost and get a brand new home. Of course, I would hire something like that instead of a company. Save money doing the same shit, right? Well, one thing that could go wrong is they use moldy wood. And you're probably like, well, how does that happen? It can. It actually happens quite often in those new development homes, okay? It shouldn't. But could a robot detect for that? Not yet, baby. And if they could, it'd be more money. Okay, that's just like one thing I'm thinking of. If they could, this whole mold toxicity thing, I don't know, it pops up in my TikTok feed and I don't even look up mold, but something in my brain leads me there, right? The algorithm. But it's like, that's like one area, right? There's still things. So it's like, of course, if we had robots to do it, but we don't. If we had robots to do it, it would be they wouldn't be able to have this fucking argument. We wouldn't need men. You know, literally if we had that, like those are just like simple things to ask yourself. I'll tell you right now, men have the strength. And the issue that the other side has when trying to refute it is that they say that there are biological differences. That's really all you can do to avoid shit like this. But when it comes to like the enforcement arm, which is strength, could men ideally make us all slaves tomorrow? They could. I don't know if we got too many Sims, okay? That would never let it happen. That maybe are stronger. But when it comes down to it, that enforcement arm is going to be there. Arguing something like, no, there's probably men are not using these tools, or they don't really need strength in order to get these jobs done, is probably not the best argument. And I feel like I just tangented. Yes.
This argument still makes no
Come here.
sense.
If it took 5 men to redo a roof or whatever,
Sure.
now it takes 2, right?
Yeah, why is one of them a woman?
No, because the point is, as a society as a whole,
She's missing the point so much. Is there new technology for roofing? I have no fucking idea.
Then
I
it's
wouldn't- I don't know
probably a
anything about
stupid
roofing. I have no clue.
argument.
we have just moved away from manual labor. So obviously,
This
a
argument
woman
makes no sense.
Yes, it does make sense. It's very simple.
Okay, give it to me again.
Yeah, here.
Okay.
Manual labor jobs have become less important.
Yep.
We have found technology to basically help replace a lot of the brute force or strength that we needed before.
Agree.
So the vast majority of people, men and women, are now more inclined towards service sector jobs.
Okay, so I don't understand though. Are you implying that women were doing manual labor
No,
jobs
I'm not
before?
implying women were doing
So
manual
then
labor
if
before.
that is true, and women were not doing manual labor jobs before, and now you have machines.
He's way too fucking nice. I hope you got. He has it sped up, which he always does. But like, he just agreed while she's saying the different parts. She's like, men did. Jesus fucking kill me. We don't need men, or brute force isn't necessary anymore because we have men, or we have technology that means we don't need men for it. He's like, yes, agree. Like he already agreed with you. like why do they say he's bad faith? I don't get it. What's her point?
Which are assisting in these manual labor jobs. Why aren't women gravitating towards those jobs? All you're saying to me is, as manual labor jobs have decreased, all right, because the market demand, men who ordinarily would take those jobs move into things which aren't manual labor. That is not a argument at all for any epigenetic stride at all. That's just, I'm going to take this thing away, so now you have no access to it because it's not available, so you have to do something else. That doesn't mean that their interests still aren't here. It just means it's not available. Why aren't women taking those jobs?
Okay, this is fucking retarded. Okay.
Jesus. Okay. So, assuming, where am I? Okay. So, like, what the fuck were they talking about? Well, we have to watch the video, right? But assuming that it's what I'm talking about, which I've said it many times, it's like when women are given all the choice in the world, all of the choice, and they can work hard labor jobs and all of this, why don't they gravitate towards it? Because of interests. Men and women fundamentally have different interests. She could have said something that was like, we don't have marketing towards women that says, you can do it too, bitch, or something like that, whatever they say when it comes to social influences. Okay, let's watch the actual full thing. I don't know if I know I don't agree with Destiny in his assessment, but let's see if Andrew was bad faith. Okay. I'm excited to watch Pixie. Last time I think I reacted to a video with her. Was it on whatever? It might have been that Fresh and Fit one, which she was bringing up good points. I just wish she would have been bitchier, which, like, actually, that kind of goes with this whole thing. It's like, we want women to be more assertive. It's like, those are fundamentally male traits. Not really. It's like, what? Ocean. Openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. I'm asking her to be assertive, which would probably, if I had to guess, would be on like the less agreeable side of things, which men predominantly occupy. It's not to say that you can't be. I mean, look at me. I'm the most disagreeable bitch you know. but I'm also pretty manly. And when I say manly or masculine, feminine, what I'm not saying is that you must stick to these specific things. Pixie could be assertive. I'm saying it was a joke. Okay, but like, how could Pixie be assertive in these conversations? From what I've seen of her, it's hard to tell when it was sped up. To be honest with you, it probably has to do with like confidence. Like, men seem to spit these debates out really quickly, and I'm honestly picking up like F and F debates, okay? But even when you get put into those scenarios and you maybe have more of an educated background on things like fucking stats or something, it's like you let them walk all over you. You know why people hate Jasmine? Because she doesn't take shit. She doesn't. She's so annoying when she talks. Hey, she doesn't take shit. You can't get one little thing over her because she fucking stops you. I want to see that from Pixie. I want to see that shit. Okay? It's easier. Like, the best way to apply it, I guess, you have to know your opponent in and out. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room, but if you have the proposition, you should know exactly what those people are going to bring up, and you must know it and how to refute it like it's fucking, you don't even have to pay attention in the debate. You just hear some fucking keywords and you're able to spew out some fucking funnel marketing sounding shit like they do to you. Okay? That would be my first tip. But let's watch her, okay? Last time, I think, was like a year ago. Maybe 6 months. I could have my timelines off.
Welcome to a special debate edition of the Whatever podcast, coming to you live from Santa Barbara, California. I'm your host and moderator, Brian Atlas. A few quick announcements before the show begins. This podcast is viewer-supported, heavy YouTube demonetization. So please consider donating through Streamlabs instead of super chatting, as YouTube takes a brutal 30% cut. If you super chat 100, YouTube takes 30. If you donate 100, Streamlabs only takes 30. Streamlabs.com/whatever. Link is in the description if you want to interact nearly instantly with us and weigh in on the conversation. Consider sending a TTS text-to-speech message. $100 and up triggers TTS. TTS is via Streamlabs only. For the sake of a smooth stream and debate, if it is too disruptive, we may have to delay, hold, or boost the TTS. Okay. So please see the description for all triggers and full details. Also, for those of you who tuned into the sort of debate, I don't know if we would call that a debate, yesterday on our Discord, discord.gg/whatever, we posted the, could you X out at the top there? Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
I'm going to see where I can skip it because with love. Okay, it looks like they're coming up. Cool.
I just want to...
Wait a minute.
G/whatever, we posted the, could you X out at the top there? Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
I want alcohol.
We posted the clip on our Discord. It's discord.gg/whatever. You can sign up via patreon.com/whatever. If you want to check it out, this woman, she, was it an assault, Andrew? Did she assault you, or was it?
I mean, I don't know exactly what to call it. I would say some kind of maybe battery, or at the very least harassment. I have no idea.
Something. In any case,
if I did it, I would have gone to jail. Let's put it that way.
Indeed. Mm-hmm. So it is available on our Discord, discord.gg/whatever. That was just from yesterday's show. And without further ado, I'm joined today by Andrew Wilson, host of The Crucible. He is a political commentator, political satirist, and blood sport debater. His feminist debate opponent is Pixie, as she goes online. She's the co-host of the Sugar Spice podcast. Ooh. She graduated from University of Florida with a triple major, getting her BS in psychology and BA in philosophy and economics. Now, you can each have an opening statement, and the rest of the show will...
You got zero excuses. I want to see fucking blood. I may not agree with your position, but I want to see.
It'll just be an open debate / conversation. Pixie will go first, and then Andrew. So go ahead, Pixie.
Hi, I'm Pixie. I was asked to basically begin with a general worldview. Obviously, that's really complicated and really hard because the world's complicated and hard. But if I had to say what I generally believe in,
No! Bitch. No. We don't answer that. No. No. I don't like that. I don't know why. Is this a Twitch thing? Stop doing that. Stop giving away everything that you can rely on. Stop it. You are prey being put on a silver platter to your predator. Nay. You're like, why the fuck do you want to know that? Didn't you do your research?
most of my principles are utilitarian-like, the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of people with the least amount of harm possible. Other than that, I'm a big fan of rules like veil of ignorance.
No!
Right? If we didn't know what race, gender, whatever
writing it
component
down.
you want to say, and we're going to be thrust into society, how
Oh, this is gonna be good. Okay, if Andrew doesn't give his, is that bad faith? Absolutely. But if he gives it, what is it gonna be like? Fucking. Okay, I'm gonna project. I won't say anything.
would that society
I'll be
ideally
polite.
be? I just want to live in a world that is as equal as possible in
Shut
terms of
up, bitch!
opportunity and, you know, with a basic standard of living. That is my ideal. Obviously, life be a little bit more complicated than that. And even in terms of utilitarianism, oh, God.
Party foul. Party foul. It's okay.
Utilitarianism.
Keep going. You're fine.
Yeah, I still believe that.
How many utils did you just lose?
So many. I
many.
am going to the bad place.
It's negative 10 utils.
I still think that we have certain duties towards, you know, our loved
Shut
ones
up.
or, you know.
No! Dye your hair red. I want you to be in goth attire. Okay, you need to scare them. Why the fuck are you asking? What keywords do you need? What, are we doing that? No. No. If they ask you to do this, it's not good. If he doesn't do it too, which we kind of know, at least. It could be a way. I've seen this done a few times. It's like they want to. Usually, when people ask you this, they're trying to figure out where your blind spots are, because there are some for everybody. We just need to figure out what funnel to go down. Or it's giving Andrew a justification to give something that's going to absolve him of responsibility later in a debate. And you're like, well, Tori, how the fuck? Because if he goes into the fucking DD shit with love, okay, I have to keep it. I have to be able to see, like, it's like, what could Andrew do? It's kind of like when, did you guys see the debate with Ben Shapiro and Alex O'Connor? Remember when Ben Shapiro gave like a spiel in the beginning? If you've ever been in this scenario, maybe you're an atheist and you're like, oh, here we go with the mental gymnastics. Essentially, it's like, if somebody who follows religious doctrine is where they get everything from, they will say something like, it's all true. It's all true knowledge and truth. That's where they get it from. So anything that comes after that is irrelevant. Something like that. It's like they'll say that shit in the beginning. It's like, what? So I don't bring it up later, bitch? What are you doing? Are you trying to get me to determine your capacity? Are we going to talk about, I don't believe in that shit. You're trying to make me believe in your false belief? No. Otherwise, you're going to be on a fucking meta thing. Like, fuck that shit. You got to hold them to the fire. But, like, other than that, maybe they want to be, like, cookie cutter. I don't know. Brian, Andrew, what are you doing? Don't do that. Don't do that. It's like equivalent to me being like, if I was a dude, if which honestly, this Adam's apple makes it kind of questionable. It's like me as a dude asking the girls at a party, like, so what door do you keep unlocked? Which apartment is yours? It's like, why the fuck? No, don't answer shit.
Our friends, family members, etc., etc. But
Thanks,
yeah,
Trevor.
overall, I have more of a utilitarian perspective on things. So that's my general worldview.
Peace out. Peace out. You too, homie.
Sorry.
It's absolve himself of anything. It'll be like something will come up in a debate, and he'll be like, "Well, remember how I said in the beginning?" And it's like, da 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 da. So usually it just sounds like it won't make sense, in my opinion, when I'm listening to these things. It's not that it won't make sense. It only makes sense if you are religious and stepping into like a debate with somebody who's secular. I don't know. It's different every time I hear it, at least on YouTube.
Did not mean to press that. I had to move. I was cleaning up the popcorn. I was cleaning up the popcorn.
And then I guess we can get into your views on feminism.
Yeah.
No.
Do you want me to do that right now? Or
Yeah,
do you
for
want
just
to-
your opening. So
Yeah.
So it's time to get into your views on feminism. Pixie, you're right. Feminism is the equality or the advocacy, whatever your fucking definition is. Okay? You started out and started off strong. You take the fucking thing away from it. Tori, does that really matter? It's not only, yes, it matters. It does. Because that means you can frame this shit. You go into it like you're about to tear up war.
I was just requesting that you gave me your worldview so
Yeah.
that I knew what prism you're looking through as you kind of tell me what your takes are on feminism.
Yeah, so basically my general view on feminism is that we've made a lot of long strides when it comes to equality. I still think that there's certain like gender stereotypes or behaviors that we like punish for both men and women. I do think men are sometimes at a slight advantage when it comes to certain power structures in place because of old notions of what it means to be masculine or feminine. But yeah, I just want to strive to be in a world where, you know, a guy can act sad or emotional and they're not punished for it. And where a woman can act like, you know, straightforward or confident or direct and not be punished for that.
The irony is that like women punish them for this. Like, can we just like break debate mode for a second? Can we just sprinkle a little red pill in here right now? Like, literally, men, if you say, like, why are you really sad? Like, is it because of XYZ? And let's say they are sad. As soon as, if they were to tell you exactly why, and I can give an example in a second, it's like it would frighten you so much that you wouldn't talk to them anymore. So what men will do is sugarcoat it a lot. And it's almost like a lie to men, at least. So they like give you like this bullshit reason, and then that bullshit reason you will forever like tackle it, and then he sprinkles in like a little bit more of the truth thing, and then y'all aren't talking anymore. And then there's other scenarios where they go full in and give this like a definition of what's really upsetting them, and then you feel like that they're not taking care of the relationship. It's always complaining and shit like this. And does this sound like projection? It absolutely does. If I give specific scenarios, like I find that they will always be like, well, that's only like one type of scenario. And it's like, bitch, you asked me, whatever. But if men were truly, truly honest in this area, it would frighten women. So how do we fix that? Just like as women, no matter what they give, don't let it make you view them a different type of way. It's easier said than done. But we do suck in this area. I'm telling you, bitch to bitch right now. We suck here. And it's like, well, shouldn't you be able to judge people based on how they feel about something, right? They give you the fucking bullshit answer and you still do. And it's not even that bad. You know what I mean? It's like, God damn it. When a guy tells you exactly, the other thing is y'all use it in a fight. No. If when men tell you those things and you use it as ammo in a fight, you break their trust. You can never get trust back. Okay. That's the main thing. It really should have led with that. So what do? Maybe not bringing up their shit in a fight. Well, they do it to me. Lead by example, bitch. Okay. If they're doing it, you might have not been totally innocent in the beginning. I don't like to say that because you're a victim. Can you just take a bitch for her word? Okay. Be more cognizant. Okay. I'll get it on with the actual debate.
Either. That's just where I'm at.
So just to reiterate very quickly, your general worldview is utilitarianism. The only thing I just wanted to quickly follow up on is you said that you have duties. Does this fall under threshold deontology where you feel that there's duties up until a point and then you switch over to utilitarianism?
Yeah, basically. I mean, if there was one moral system that solved it all, we wouldn't be constantly debating about this in philosophy, right? Like this wouldn't be a thing that's still talked like in academia for forever. But basically, even though I ascribe a lot to like to utilitarianism in the sense of like greatest amount of good for greatest amount of people.
He literally doesn't care. He's trying to. It's like you're just digging yourself into a hole. You could have just answered, yeah. You don't have to justify it. No one cares. With love. I think people, I don't know. When you guys watch Andrew, what do you take away from this shit? If you hate Andrew, put it in the chat. What do you think Andrew's doing? Trying to make you justify some shit? Is that why she's going into it? I'd be like, mind your business, Andrew.
There is still a level of duty that you have towards your friends or family.
Shut up. Love you.
So, for example,
no.
Let's say you get slightly more utility by, in a hypothetical.
Okay, just to like throw her a bone, she's probably explaining it to show her being open to like criticisms and shit, which would default like good faith. But don't do that. You never have to do that. Don't tell people. That's like playing poker and showing everybody what you got. Stop it. You want to win, don't you? I need Botox on my fucking eyebrows.
Reality, right? This might not make sense. Whatever. In a hypothetical reality, lying to everybody about your friend in a negative manner for whatever reason. Let's say that just produces more utility in the world.
Yeah.
Well, then there's two things there. I think you can probably still create a better world where you don't have to stoop to such a level to lie in a malicious manner, most likely. And then second of all, you also shouldn't do that because that's your friend. And I guess what I'm trying to say here, what I'm trying to get at, is that
certain circumstances require more nuance. We get it, girl. Move on.
There's a way to be good to each other on a personal level that I think a framework of duty explains better than a framework of utility. So you could have a framework of utility when it comes to like general policies, like on a large scale, whatever. But when it comes to personally, like how should I treat you? Should I treat you with kindness? That's where you get a little bit more individualistic. Obviously, sometimes these things can like contradict. Again, moral philosophy, as you know, is pretty complicated in terms of like academia. There's so many different arguments. I'm open to learning, to talking more about it. It's just obviously something that people still wrestle with a lot because there are a lot of moral conundrums out there.
Yeah, I don't think that you could explain the entirety of your worldview in a single opening statement, right? I'm just kind of looking for the key point principles. So utilitarianism, the basic harm principle, and then a threshold where it meets duty. So duty has to be in play there in some points because you don't think that utilitarianism itself can accommodate everything. Okay. So there's like a bit of threshold deontology. All right. So I'll dive in.
He's absolutely based on maybe I'm just projecting. He's absolutely gonna try to get out of some bullshit later now.
Into to my opener here. So I came to Christianity first
Also, we like Andrew over here. I just like to give some shit.
logically rather than spiritually. The spiritual part of it came after the logical part. That actually is very common with people, more common than people know. No. So to give you kind
1000% going to try to get out of some bullshit later, okay? Let's listen.
of my framework and understanding, I'm an Eastern Orthodox Christian, so that's the viewpoint that I go, look at the world from. But when
Intel Wild donated $100. Andrew, for all of us on the Crucible / whatever side, please wreck this woke, leftist bluehead, feminist Nazi, tree-hugging, carbon footprint, gender pronoun Kuma.
Present.
Blue-haired. That's where I draw the line. For everything else is fine, but I clearly do not have blue hair.
She only has green hair sometimes
Yeah, sometimes.
in edited thumbnails.
Yeah, so I'm an Eastern Orthodox Christian. But to give you an overview of what that means, I'm going to kind of accommodate Catholics and then what I would consider most Protestants would consider to be a Christian. So from my worldview, knowledge is not possible without there being a God. It's not even possible. And here's what I mean by that.
Cut him off.
Without
Cut him off. Sorry, I won't yell. I know it's late. No, absolutely not. You're telling me every time I did something that I got it from a God? No. Stop it. Cut him off.
an unerring standard, or a standard which is unchanging, your ability to know something is going to be arbitrary. Any appeal that you make, any standard appeal that you make to anything ever is going to reduce to relativism, and it's going to reduce to being arbitrary, no matter what. So because that standard doesn't exist, I actually believe that there is truth which you can know and knowledge which you can know, because I appeal to the standard which is unchanging. The reason we're Trinitarians, meaning we believe...
He could also be explaining this so that they don't walk away thinking he's bad faith. But I don't feel like people... I feel like you're better off just... You can't win, right? You can't win unless there's more channels that explain this sort of thing. People are always going to say whatever. Could he be trying to be good faith? Yeah, but I look at things like a game of chess, okay? I don't want to get through the debate and then being like, well, remember when I said all truth, I can know it? It's like, well, either you concede or you stop it in the beginning. That's why I'm saying, like, call it out, I guess. But I'm also really competitive, so.
Believe in the triune nature of God is because first in John 1:1, the Word was with God and God was the Word. Okay? What this is saying...
Sounds like cult speak. Either Andrew is trying to make me decide if he has capacity right now to do this debate by trying to get me to believe in his fixed false belief, or, okay, be creative. He's implementing the leap method where I'm just supposed to shake my head and let him know that I feel his feelings, but I don't actually believe what he's saying. Okay, make it creative. Does this make sense from a religious lens? 1000%. 1000% it does. I'm not even saying it's inaccurate in that regard. But if you don't believe in God, push it. You got to be creative in this realm. We depend on you. I'm just kidding. But it's like, if you want to come off charismatic, this is one of those ways you could do that. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they believe in, what I believe in, whatever. Feminism, we can do it without it. And you're like, well, how the fuck do you do that? Well, stay away from anything. Do what I do. Say that the Bible was written for men, by men, to control male behavior. That's why you can have female priests and shit. I'm like, Tori, what the fuck? Okay, I didn't say it had to be accurate. I am the God. God was a woman. I'm kidding. But it's like, okay, there's a couple angles. Unclear.
Is if you move forward.
The reason you can't have female priests is because of the same reason single moms have a tendency to fail. You can't really tell men how to respect women without another man doing it. You think they're going to listen to you in the church? No. They need men to do it. I wish they phrased it this way more, but it's probably unethical. But a lot more women would be on board with it. The issue is that like women, it's like kind of saying that religion isn't for women. And that's not what I'm saying. Your behavior just doesn't need to be commanded to change. Why do men do better in the military? Because they like the rules and they like to be yelled at. I don't know. They're insane. This is just historically how men learn.
To 1:14.
Love you.
In John, it says, and the Word became flesh. So that would be Jesus Christ. So in the beginning, there's the Word. The Word was God. The Word was with God. And then in 1:14, the Word becomes flesh. So that means Jesus Christ is God, right? Part of the nature of God. John 14:6, Jesus Christ says, I am the way, the truth, and the light. Okay, so the key word there for us is truth, right? The way, the truth, and the light. So in philosophy, a justified true belief is knowledge, right?
I mean, Aristotle was the one, or not, I can't remember who exactly. But then
knowledge is a justified true belief. So you can have a justified belief, but that doesn't mean it's true. So since we don't have a justified true belief, and we believe that the truth is God and must be God because that's the only inerrant, unchanging standard that there could ever be for truth, essentially.
I know she knows what's going on. Call it out. You can, come on, call it out. She knows it. I can tell. She's smirking. She said Aristotle. She knows what the fuck is going on. Be assertive. Be ruthless. Okay, I give you permission.
I feel like most everything that anybody tells me who's not a Christian is a lie because it has no foundational grounding for it to be true. It's moving towards some kind of standard which is completely arbitrary. So I think that your worldview in and of itself destroys the ability, the very ability for you to even have knowledge. So that is my worldview and how I see things.
Come on.
Now, I'm not here to have a precept debate with you about Christianity.
There it is.
Right? But I did want you to understand.
Boom, baby. Okay. What does that mean? I don't, no offense. Okay. Love you. Saying I don't want this to become a thing later. So if something does come up and he's able to say, well, remember how I said? But they don't want to have the meta debate, precept debate. They don't want to, it's Ben Shapiro literally in the Alex O'Connor situation. And you'll see this. It happens with really smart Christians, in my experience. Anybody that Judeo-Christians, whatever, logical, charismatic, very intelligent. Is it always the case? I don't know. They will do this thing in the beginning where they say, I know it doesn't account for some stuff, but and like you're following, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, whatever. And then they use it later. Don't let them. Don't fucking let them. Be like, no, I want to have that debate actually. Like, God damn it. Like, no, let's do it right now. They know, like, everybody knows we don't want to have this debate. But you better do it. Andrew does these whatever podcasts, and he can go for hours. Do it. Okay? Drink your water, take your Addy, fucking do it.
And my viewpoint and
Thanks,
how it is
Jim.
that I think about
Love
Christianity.
you.
And I think most Christians think of it this way.
Yeah.
Okay?
I feel bad because I know we're supposed to talk about feminism, but I want to ask you if you've ever heard of Gettier problems.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
what do you think
the
about
thing
them?
is that those can be reconciled through the Orthodox worldview as well. Okay, so you're talking.
Don't feel bad. Just fucking say.
Talking in the Gettier problems of the laws of logic having problems, like you could be half in a room, half in a different room, stuff like this. But these are semantic issues, right?
No. All right, here, let me give you an example of a Gettier problem. So, for example, let's say...
So precept debates go nowhere. Correct. Honestly, you just want to concede that you will like agree to disagree. So in the situation where it's further in the debate and something comes up, instead it's like we agree to disagree on the beginning, but you have to be able to point it out, I guess, to keep it like consistent. Otherwise, you're just going to keep going in that loop and somebody gets triggered, ends up having cognitive dissonance. Doesn't even matter which one at that point. And then you end up thinking, oh, this person seems like they won that part and they didn't. This is why it's important to know this shit. Like, it's like agree to disagree, move on to the next point would be ideal. But you're right. They really honestly are the most boring thing to listen to. Okay. The best thing I would do, like if you want to just speed it up, be like, if I told you or if I gave you evidence that I was God tomorrow, would you change your position? If they say no, they're sexist and gross. No, I'm just kidding. If they say no, it doesn't matter. This person's probably not even worth debating. That's bad faith to me. If you're given more evidence that proves that I am your God, your opponent right now, and you don't change your opinion, you're not about the truth. You're fucking intimidated by my feminine masculine. You know what I mean? But if you say that and they go, yeah, I would change my opinion, fucking beautiful then. This person's actually trying to have a good faith conversation with you. That should be our rule from now on. How do you determine if somebody is good faith or bad faith? If they're religious and you ask them, if I gave you all the evidence that showed you that your opponent was God, would you believe it or not believe it? If they say, yeah, I'd believe it, they're good to go. Okay. Honestly, that's how we're going to do it from now on.
You are driving by in your car.
Yeah.
And then you pass, what is it? You pass a barn.
Yeah.
And you say, there's a barn.
Yeah.
It's justified. You saw it. It's a belief that you're holding, and it's true.
We got 69 viewers, or we did, like the video.
Except in this case, in this scenario, that was actually a fake barn, and right behind it was a real barn. I know that sounds weird, but obviously it's just theoretical.
Sure.
Technically, your belief is still true. You said there's a barn over there.
Okay,
but
bitch.
Can you really say that's knowledge? Did you truly know there was a barn there when what you were pointing to was, in fact, a fake barn?
But I mean, that would just move into precept. So whatever standard implied knowledge that you would have be relative anyway. So who cares if there's a barn behind it or not? Because it's going to be whatever you're going to appeal to know that there's a barn behind it. It's going to be an arbitrary standard, which can be reduced to relativism.
I mean, does it have to be arbitrary? I guess.
Yeah, you can never. I don't see how if you didn't have a standard which was unchanging, meaning could not be changed, how it wouldn't reduce to a relative standard.
She fucking knows. Stop it with this. Well, no. You tell him. What the fuck? Be aggressive. Do it.
Put it this way. Let's say.
I think Andrew would honestly be into it. Like, I don't think it would make him angry and want to absolutely make you look stupid. Like, I don't know if this is like a fear. If you're going to look stupid, it's going to be at your own detriment. Okay. But like, this makes you look weak. I get it. I see what you're saying, but I don't know if everybody else is going to see that. Maybe it's just a little slow. It's a area with a lot of men, okay? They like the fucking... Give it to them. The more aggressive, I feel like, the better you come off to people. It's only when you're not engaging that people take it badly. It's like, engage. Be annoying about it. Yell at them.
That there is a certain period in time where you had this village. And in this village... they decided that like when the water falls down and you're getting water, whatever, you should give it to the old people first because they need it more. You know, it's more important that they get water first, whatever. Sorry. And let's say over time, everything gets better, like their water systems.
I will say she sounds more confident than before. I remember she would stutter like a good amount. So definitely improved. I just want to see a bitch. Okay. I want to see somebody that if I was a guy, my balls would shrivel up. Like, oh, fuck. Okay. In order to do that, you gotta act like this is like locker room talk. Okay. Do it.
Get better, blah, blah, blah. Things become more evolved, more advanced. And now that rule is arbitrary. Things changed, the circumstances changed, but it doesn't mean that rule is always arbitrary. What I'm trying to convey here is that...
No, okay. That rule would not have been arbitrary. So the meaning of arbitrary...
Don't let a mansplain you, bitch. Come on. Sorry, guys, I have to. Get your fucking ass in there.
Meaning without system or something like this, but it would have been relative.
Yeah.
And that's the point. It would have been a relative rule. So it wouldn't have been anything that you were basing it on other than some metric you made up.
Yell at him.
But even though it was a metric you made up, it was a metric that was tied down towards like our physical reality of how we interact with each other, how the environment is.
But could somebody have come in and said, don't give the water to the old people first? And they could have agreed to that, right?
They could have agreed to that, but that doesn't mean that they did what was in the best interest of the society.
But that means that the standard can be changed. So if the standard can be changed, the standard is relative. For instance, the laws of logic.
If you really want to play this game, you just bring up the fucking slavery in the Bible. Okay? It's like, y'all be relativists too, okay? Shut up. Move on. They're just being so fucking polite. Don't do it. Be aggressive. Actually, come to think of it, the Ben Shapiro and Alex O'Connor thing was exactly about this. Like, verbatim, right? It's like, I don't know if y'all are really in the position to talk about relativism. They know that this is a possible, like, if they're good at this, they know that a smart person will bring something like that up. And you're like, well, it's so obvious. Bring it up. That's what they're worried about. They're like, how is it really like absolute truth, my guy? Like, what are you talking about? Y'all be changing shit. It's like, that's the biggest example I can think of. There's many of them. This is why anytime you try to bring them up, they're like, well, that's the fucking fifth one. Whatever the E one is. Exodus. Shut up. Okay, you're boring me. I love you. But it's like, they all discount that one. We know why, okay? Just saying something like that can just dismantle this whole thing. That's the debate. That's the God thing. Well, is God really all true? Just stop it.
Can't be changed.
Okay.
So for instance, can you tell me how you would change the laws of logic without appealing to the laws of logic first?
No. I'll agree with you that the laws of logic can't be changed. But I think what I'm trying to disagree with you here on is just because something can be changed doesn't necessarily make it arbitrary.
No. Arbitrary in this case, if you're talking about the definition of has no system to it, I believe that you can come up with all sorts of systems and then it's no longer arbitrary, but it's still relative. It's still made up. And so what I'm saying is that the laws of logic are not relative. They're not made up. They exist as a metaphysical reality, and they must exist as a metaphysical reality.
This is a great time to come in and be like, okay. Be like, do you get it? It's like, well, I was told never to agree with delusional people about their delusion, but I can acknowledge your feelings about it. We call this the leap method, according to Dr. El Malvador. Okay, you don't want to fuck with me, okay? I can pull something out. It's like, you're never supposed to agree with the delusion. Is it a delusion? To people who are religious? No, not at all. But to an outsider, absolutely. Absolutely. It follows all the metrics. And you don't believe me? What's the difference between somebody who says they're the Messiah and somebody who believes in the Messiah? Okay, that kind of contradicts it. But like, how do you determine somebody is just religious versus needs to be institutionalized? It's like there's something about it. There's something about it. We don't really know what. Couldn't really tell you what. It's usually has to do with time. Whenever they say something, they could be saying what Andrew's saying right now, but be naked on top of a supermarket. We would put that one, we'd 150 them for sure. But it's like the time. It's like when you do it. I don't know. Be creative.
Because it can't be changed.
This is one you can really let your charm and your personality come out in a debate. It's in moments like this. Honestly, you want the people to like you, be creative. You'd be like, oh shit. They're funny.
And if you can change them, I would love to know how you could.
And don't get me wrong, y'all. I can make fun of atheists all day. Okay. The only reason I'm giving this right now is because of what they're talking about in this fucking moment. Okay.
Can I ask you a question on, like, how do you define, and this sounds funny or weird, but how do you define, like, objectivity?
Well, it depends on what you mean by objectivity. So, like, an easy way might be correspondence theory of truth, that which corresponds with reality, you could say, is objective. There's many different theories of truth which are encompassed in Christianity, but I think correspondence theory would be fine for us to use as some definition for objective truth.
Yes.
Follow up with saying like, okay, so I can kind of confirm your capacity right now, but you also want me to believe that God is real, even though I don't. So with that, I don't know if I should continue this debate, Andrew. I don't think you can give full consent. Okay, do something.
Okay, and just to clarify, you believe
With
in
love.
objective truth. You would have to, because you believe in
that objective standard. So if you believe in a subjective truth and everything is relative, then like for your moral standard, what do I even care about your moral standard for?
Yeah. Okay. So, because in my head, what are you writing? She's crazy.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Where was I?
Was that patronizing or am I just... Do you really think that? No.
We're talking about subjective.
Yes, subjective, objective, which relates to an outside reality. So I think, and we agree with this definition, just making it crystal clear.
Well, I'm not sure if we agree on it or not. I don't think we need to for the purpose of the debate. I'm just trying to express to you what my viewpoint is as we go into the debate on feminism.
Convenient.
Yeah.
Showing that
Andrew.
I'm probably not going to agree with your principles of utilitarianism, nor you with my principles of Christianity. But that doesn't mean that if we both can look at like correspondence theory or something like that which corresponds with reality, that maybe we couldn't find some common ground here on feminism.
Is Andrew a danger to himself or others? I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with some shit. I love this part. It's like, come on, yell at him. Do it. Don't let him lead this shit, bitch. Stomp on him. It's like I'm on Andrew's side most of the time. I just like to see sprinkle little drums. Come on.
Self.
Yeah, I agree. I think just my main issue that I take is that when you are, because I also believe in objective morality, but I
Okay.
believe in it, I think, for a different reason that you do. And there's so many
Just
thoughts, but
say
here,
it.
I'll start here. So basically, I think my problem with your worldview, or with how you're starting it out, is that you're saying, oh no, like there has to be an unchanging God, because then anything else is relative and therefore like subjective. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No.
No.
No. What I'm saying to you is that knowledge itself is not possible. If knowledge itself, the thing that you appeal to, has an arbitrary metric, knowledge becomes impossible.
You really want to die on that hill, King? I'm insane.
You can't
You sure? What number am I holding up?
know anything if you say there's no standard which is unchanging
Come
for
on.
which we can know a thing by.
Come
Therefore, no belief you have can be true, because knowledge itself is a
Come
justified
on,
true
cut him
belief.
off.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have to,
She
by having a
knows.
subjective worldview, from my worldview, you have destroyed the very capacity to even have knowledge.
Yeah, and I think where the major disagreement comes from is that things can be changing, but you can still know of something despite the changes.
How do you know if you can't appeal to a standard from which, if you always appeal to it, is unchanging? How could you ever know that?
If a tree goes down in a forest and nobody's there, did it make a sound? I'm insane.
Yeah. How do you know? Okay. Maybe you can help me answer.
So, like,
Does God whisper to you every time you make a decision? That's the one. Sounds really stressful and like OCD and schizophrenia. No offense. Okay. I love you. Okay.
like
Yeah.
this beer, right? Can that be water?
No.
How do you know?
Because I see that it is beer, and I know that unless if you decide to do some.
Let me be the fucking judge of that. Trying to figure out if it's H2O or Jesus juice. I'm a bartender. I'm just kidding. Call him out.
A bunch of like chemical processes, essentially. It's not gonna.
So you're appealing to some inerrant standard, some unchanging standard, which would say that this always must be itself. Like the laws of logic would say, this beer can only be what it is, which is beer, right?
Yeah, I'm basically appealing to. This is where we're gonna start disagreeing. Probably my experiences, essentially, and some laws of logic within like those experiences that I've had, right?
Yeah, but your experiences are going to have to still be limited to the confines of knowledge, which is still going to be confined to the laws of logic.
Yeah, but those confines are
Yell at
within
him.
my reality, if that makes sense. So, okay, I'm gonna.
Yeah, well, hang on. That's true.
Yeah.
No.
You yourself, I
Don't let him walk. He's leading it. Cut him off. Scare him. He's gonna be like, what?
think can have subjective experiences. Sure.
Yes.
I think that you can have many subjective experiences, but that really doesn't have anything to do with whether or not they're true or whether or not you have the capacity to know things if you think that knowledge itself has no standard for objectivity. How the hell can you say, I know anything, if that is the case?
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna get to.
Which translates to a fixed false belief. Sorry.
Basically,
Come on.
for you to state that there is an outside, like external, like unchanging force, you would have to essentially prove that to me.
Why?
Because otherwise,
Okay, so here's the thing. I will give you philosophical proof that there is an unchanging source from which we can always...
Well, isn't that fucking convenient? So you don't need to have empirical data. Yell at him, bitch. I'm insane. Oh, this coffee, if you're wondering, it's fucking Starbucks instant. 20 out of 10. 20 out of 10. Come on, you don't need empirical data?
appeal to for knowledge called the laws of logic. Now, if that is not true, can you explain to me how these can be changed? If they are subjective, they should be changeable. Can you change the laws of logic or can you not?
no, I'm saying those laws of logic can 100% not be changed in your reality.
In your reality.
The problem is
She knows what's going on. She knows what's going on, but she's being very friendly and entertaining it. It's one way to do it. I just feel like you should just cut it off. Move on, you know? She's like breaking it down, which is that's one way you can do it. It's not that it's wrong. I just don't I wouldn't fuck around with my energy there, you know? This man can go for a while. Don't be focused on doing this thing, you know? Because if you call it out, what's he gonna do? I mean, yeah, they could maybe fight it out, but you just brush it off. Like, okay. It's like, you don't have to be technical. Be insane. We like it. We like the drums.
reality.
you would have to prove to me a reality exists outside of your perspective, which you inherently cannot do because you are quite literally processing everything through your perspective. Like, it would be an impossible task for me to prove that.
In any reality, do you think that a thing cannot be what a thing is?
No.
Essentially, even if those rules are true, they're so confined to my reality. Does that make sense?
Even if they're confined to your reality.
He's such a put down to listen. No, he's not. I remember he asked me, he's like, well, so where do you get who do you appeal to? I'm like, my fucking self, which is obviously like nobody wants to admit that, but it's absolutely, what are you going to do? You can't do anything. I'm the right one, not God. It's as bizarre as the other way around. It's like the irony of it, right? It's like you're never going to agree on these terms, and that's okay. Move on. If you really get into the debate where it comes up, which it probably won't when you're talking about feminism, and the reason, well, it could, but the reason that it probably won't is because whatever the debate topic is, the affirmative side, negative disagrees with the proposition, right? Your basis, you want to come off and win, using religious arguments probably won't be a strong footing. And the reason I say that is because feminism goes against that, right? So if I want to beat the feminist, for instance, I got to play their game. Don't go in there trying to impose, well, you know what? We don't have female priests, so therefore women should, you know what I mean? I wouldn't go there. It could come up, but I would just be like, yeah, they created the Bible to control men's behavior, not women. How many times are women brought up in the fucking Bible? Yeah, that's what I thought. You know, but I'm sure it could come up. If you want to have strong arguments, I probably wouldn't go that route, but if you can come up with something in the chat, I'm willing to put it
All
up.
I need you to do is envision a reality in which a thing isn't what it is.
I'm not playing along with your delusion, Andrew.
Which I can't, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist
So
outside of the confines.
so in all possible realities that you can possibly come up with, it's not good enough philosophical proof for you that you can't think of a single one in which the laws of logic would not apply?
Andrew, what I'm trying to convey here, you see this box?
Yep.
Okay, that's for the audience. You are in this box.
Okay.
And you're basically saying, oh, nothing outside this box can exist because I cannot perceive of anything outside this box. But just because you cannot perceive of anything outside this box doesn't mean that there's nothing outside the box. You are confined to the box through your experiences.
This is just an argument from incredulity, ultimately. What you're saying is it's possible that there are things which exist outside of anything you could ever envision. And so therefore this thing may not be true. That's just incredulity.
Yeah, no.
That's just incredulity. It's a fallacious
That's what
argument.
it's called.
What I need you to do is tell me.
What's fallacious is you want me to believe in your fucking delusion right now so it can absolve you of responsibility later. No. Andrew. God damn, insane. Like, call him out. I want to see fights. You know?
Based on any experience,
Wait,
subjective
I need
or
you
otherwise.
To explain to me why
I just did. I gave
no,
you the.
you didn't. You said it's fallacious, but you did not explain to me why it's fallacious.
The argument from incredulity.
You do need it. Technically, you do need a justification. Okay, bitch. I didn't even catch that. God damn.
Is a fallacious argument.
You have to explain to me why you believe it's fallacious. You can't just say it's fallacious.
Okay, because I could be incredulous about any argument you make, right? You could say, for instance, I'm not here right now, right? And I go, well, I don't believe that. Well, that's not an argument. That's not an actual argument.
That's not my argument is essentially.
Yeah, hang on. Do you agree with me that that would be fallacious argumentation?
I would agree with you, but that's not what I'm saying.
It is what you're saying. You're saying because I can't envision something outside of anything which can even be envisioned, where the laws of logic may not be true. You're just saying conceptually there could be. But when I ask you to demonstrate a reality in which it could even be true, you still can't even do that.
No, because
you're sad, stuck up. Okay, listen, sit down, sir. Okay? You're obviously new here. Clearly. Andrew, so far on my channel alone in these debates, is probably the only person who has consistently won. Consistently. And I don't agree with anybody. Like, ever. They're stupid, and I'm the only right person. Okay? I'm just kidding. I'm being, like, I'm joking. Easy. But I want to see better debates. And to be honest with you, when it comes to anybody that argues against Andrew's side, they suck. They suck. I don't know. Well, I kind of have an idea. The debate stuff, like if you want to learn how to debate, YouTube's probably not the best spot for it. I write debates for a living, like off camera. And like you just can't go to YouTube for good constructive like learning materials. You might get a guy that kind of gets it, but like they're explaining it in a way like you need to be in class. You need to have many mock trials, if you will, for one example, but you need to sit in philosophy classes and really go through all these things to determine this. There is no like exact formula. She has a background. I just want her to be bitchy. And if that intimidates you because you are a fan of Andrew, then are you really a fan at all? I make people sweat in this bitch, okay? I want people to be fucking good and fucking good. I'm not just going to agree with the side, okay? I probably can anticipate all of her arguments. It's always the same shit. But I could also dismantle them. Probably better. But like, my point is, nobody's going to get an upper hand over here just because I like your content. Andrew's absolutely strategic right now. And she knows what the fuck is going on. I can tell by what she's questioning. She's not agreeing with it, for one instance. But I wish she would be like how Andrew is with other people. He's being very friendly. I want them to go neck to neck. Okay? Andrew is honestly his best when he fucks around with the other person. Maybe that's just my opinion. I think one of the things that you can add into debates is style, charisma. A lot of people forget this part. Just by being fucking witty, just by making fun of their opponent, by like making a joke out of these big things that they're explaining. I'm just telling her how she can do it. And if you're afraid of a woman coming after your boy, get the fuck out of here. Okay? You just want them to win. I want them to fucking earn it. You know?
So what I'm trying to say is that inherently, every law of logic, every experience you have, everything you ever do must go through your own perception first.
Okay, but you would agree with me, even if that's true, okay? You think that other people have perceptions, right?
Yes, but I can never prove it fully.
From your perception, you think, but you do think that.
I can think that, yeah, but I'll never be able to prove it fully.
But you don't really need to. You don't really need to prove it fully. We can just go off of your perceptions then. If you can't prove anybody else has them and only you have them, inside of anything in which you can envision, you, from your subjective metric, the only one which exists or is necessary.
How long do they go on with this?
Can a world exist where the laws of logic do not apply?
No, but here's the deal, right?
That's powerful philosophical proof, by the way.
But okay,
of an unchanging.
I want empirical data.
Changing standard which can be adhered to for knowledge.
Here's a deal, right?
There's an angle that I don't see a lot of Christians or any religious debaters. Maybe it's on the No. There's an angle that they could win every single time. Maybe not every single time. That's broad. But it's like, so it's really hard for different people to step into somebody else's worldview. Something that Andrew's really good about is he can do this. People that hate him are going to be like, he changes it depending on who he's talking to. That's hard to do. And that means that you're like granting their worldview and stepping into theirs, even though you can dismantle it with your worldview, right? Like, well, according to mine, anybody really could do that. But it's like, you don't see a lot of religious like grounded debaters on YouTube, at least, maybe on Twitch. I heard that that's kind of where this whole thing started. You guys can send me videos, at Torshaa, 2 A's on Insta, or my email, which is listed in the description below. My point is, Andrew will often step into somebody's worldview, and it's never the same. Maybe there's some atheist debaters that will do it. They should if they were religious before. If you guys have recommendations, send them to me. But it's like, if she were to step into his worldview and grant it, then she would be viewed better. That's one angle to do it. The issue is that a lot of times, those that do step into a religious worldview, they don't actually understand how it's all going to be kind of circular. So they write it off. And then it's like, you're not really granting it in the way that you should. So it's like, that's one angle you could do it. It'd be maybe interesting to do it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you want atheists to do you think atheists just write you off and say, oh, here's you with your circular reasoning? I'll give you one thing. It's circular in the way that you understand it, but it also makes 100% sense. And it's true in their worldview. However you want to feel about that, I'm just talking from like strategy wise. Like, they're not wrong. So when you try to do it from that angle, you kind of just look dumb if you don't actually step into it. If you guys actually want a video on that, we could do it. Just that's going to be a really complicated one. But we could do it. We could do it. I might need some help. I might need somebody who is, I'd need like, what's his name? What's our friend's name? Fuck. Oh, what's his name? Oh my God, the Christian rapper. What the fuck is? I'm not. I see your face in my head. Why am I blanking on that? Do you guys? Mike? No, it's not Mike. Oh my God, that's gonna bother me. I'm so sorry. I'll figure it out in 2 seconds.
If we can agree,
Christian,
that
no.
even though I do not know, or I cannot prove something outside of my own perception, that's an impossible task to do. It is still real to me, right? It is still something that is, actively affecting my life. I cannot just like pretend it doesn't. It doesn't make it any less real. Does that make sense? Did I explain myself clearly?
You can say that, but I'm just going to grant it. I'm just going to grant that it's all real to you.
Okay.
So you've been granting that it's all real to you, right?
Ruslan. We'd need our boy Ruslan for that. I think that would be actually really good. That would be actually really interesting. If you guys want that video, let me know.
From what is real from your perspective, can you change the laws of logic?
No, we've already gone through
just
that.
answer the question.
No, I did. I answered
So
it
if the
3
answer
times.
is yes, then that's the only standard you can appeal to for objective knowledge, right?
Ruslan.
What, the laws of logic?
Yeah. What other objective standard can you think of which is unchanging?
Well, that's the point that I'm trying to get across, is that even if there is a reality outside of my current experience, which I do not know if that's the case, whatever, there are still these basic components of our experiences. And yeah, like the laws of logic, in a sense, are an experience, right? Thinking like 1 + 1 = 2 is something that you are actively experiencing, going through, thinking about, putting together.
No, I disagree. I believe that these are discovered. They're not subjective metrics of the human mind, but rather discoveries, which you find because they're true,
so
external to mind.
You're presupposing an external world, which brings us back to our original problem.
Hang on. I'm not presupposing an external world. What I'm saying to you is, from your subjective metric right now, which is what you consider to be everything in reality which exists and that you could ever perceive of, from that metric, do you agree that when you pass away, the laws of logic will still be here, even if you can't perceive them?
Yeah, no, that's presupposing that there is a existence outside or
That's
after
right.
myself.
Everything is a presupposition which reduces itself to an unerring standard, which has always been there and always will be there and always must have been there to assume creation or any
To assume
justification for
creation.
knowledge.
I don't think, what is it? I'm trying to think how to phrase this. You are basing your worldview off a presupposition that there is an external world, which I don't even 100% disagree with. What I'm trying to convey here is that it is our...
No. You're presupposing that you can have this conversation right now. You're presupposing that you have knowledge right now. You presuppose everything leading to this conversation, and everything you presuppose leading up to it has a requirement for knowledge,
G.
which you presuppose baked into the laws of logic, but won't grant that there has to be has to be an unerring standard. What else would you call that but God?
Oh, okay. Is it... I mean, we could get into like a theological debate about God if you want to.
I would like to move it to feminism, right? If I have substantially answered
That's blood sport, y'all. Fucking tiring her ass out. Keep going.
your questions so that you understand where I'm coming from my worldview.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess I'm just like a little bit uncertain when it comes to...
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then I would have to cross-examine what you gave us for utilitarianism, which wasn't much.
Yeah,
And then we could-
absolutely. Just,
could dive into
100%
that.
sure.
But I would like to dive into the purpose of the debate now that you know my worldview.
Okay,
The
we can
worldview
dive
itself
into
wasn't to be
feminism.
the debate, though I'm happy to do
no.
one in the future with you on this.
Call him out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason... But if anything, we'll just circle back.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, okay. Because what my concern is that once we start talking about like feminism or worldview, I'm concerned that you're going to bring it back to God, which is...
I make secular arguments.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Could have been done earlier.
Yeah.
Great.
Great
good
job.
Before we do that, I'll just allow TTS to come.
That's really important, y'all. Like, I know it was like, well, if we come back, Pixie, just yell at him. Be assertive. That's really important that you say that. Because it seems from what I've seen so far that the only reason that somebody would say that could be a couple things, but it is a tactic. I don't know if tactic is the right word. You won't really see that. Like, it's not like a written down tactic. Maybe it is. But it's a way for like Christians in particular, somebody who's religious, to absolve their reason for something later. Maybe that's not the right word, but let's say, well, this is who I go by to get XYZ from. Well, you can't do that. No, I said in the beginning, because I acknowledge that truth is blah, 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 blah. And it's like the fact that she just said, I want to be able to circle back to it, means that I have you on a hook, Andrew. I might be a little bit delicate in the way that I say it, but you're not getting away with that shit. Fuck your shit. Okay, that's important that she said that. I like it.
Ulysses the Pagan donated $100.
Oh no.
I give Pixie prompts coming prepared and
Savage.
taking notes like Andrew. I don't agree with her worldview, but I appreciate her taking the debate seriously and wanting to engage.
Well, Pixie, I ran into her on quite a few panels in the Twitch poll universe, so I was happy that she was coming in to debate.
Aw, thank you. I'm happy I'm debating you right now. We're talking,
Well, let's
really.
get into the
Yeah,
debate. So
we're
let's.
Perhaps actually one question before we do that. And
I kind of want a snack. Do you guys want something? Want like a little croissant? I made shrimp.
I think it is perhaps related to feminism. I don't know if we've had you on the panel since, Pixie, but this is something that we've brought on our dating talk panels very frequently. Are you familiar with the man versus bear question?
Yeah.
Like the goddamn video for my troubles. Okay. Here we go with bear versus man argument. I don't know how this relates. Did they give a definition yet? No.
And so what the Okay, our stream deck tripped out there. So, I mean, perhaps right before we get into the meat of the feminism conversation, I wanted to just hear your take on that. So, the scenario is, if you ask a woman, would she rather be stuck in the woods with a random man or a random bear? Quite a lot of women respond by saying bear. What's your take on this? What's your answer to the question? And
Am I allowed to ask what type of bear?
well, it's a random bear
Bitch.
and a random man.
Yeah. Okay. I might be.
What's the purpose? Is this a structured debate? Doesn't feel like it. What's the proposition? Don't let them lead you. Don't you think that's kind of a delusional question? Next. It's like, obviously, I'd rather be in a forest with a man. He'll be my bitch. You could be Korean. I would rather be in a forest with a man 1,000 fucking %. And if you say anything else and you are a feminist, you actually sound delusional. Sorry. Like, I get all the arguments for it. We've heard all of it. You sound dumb. Okay? Men just want to make bitches happy. If they really wanted to do all the harm that y'all talk about, Handmaid's Tale. I'm sorry. Are we all locked up in somebody's fucking harem? No? Okay, then it sounds delusional. Okay? This is not the place for it.
Wrong on this number from last time I actually researched this question or whatever. I do think that the majority or the most likely.
I expect a man to be in that forest and I am not walking. Okay? I better be thrown over the shoulder. I want to do absolutely fucking nothing if I pick the man. Love you.
Bear that you're likely to run into is a black.
Later, if somebody asks us who survived, you better give me credit. Sorry. I just like don't want to do it though.
Bear. If it's a black bear, I would pick bear. If it's anything but a black bear, I would pick a guy.
Is the most likely guy you're going to run into predatory?
No, but
well, then that's weird.
No, let me finish.
All right.
Let me finish. So the reason why I say this is because even if the most likely guy I run into is not predatory or whatever, there's still like an unstable factor there, right? Where it's like, in most.
Like, okay, guys, we gotta step into her. Okay, why the fuck? Why are you doing that? You know how this is gonna go. Why are you doing that? It depends on what type of bear. Are all men predatory? You could have easily been like, well, define predatory, Andrew. Predatory, like they all want to fucking fuck me? Yeah. Look at these tits. I don't know. Like, why are you doing that? Like, define it.
In the vast majority of cases with bears, or black bears, let's be specific. They don't know.
Like, a predator in a fucking forest is what? Looking for food? That looks good. If it was a man, it's, that looks good. I'd want to fuck it. I love you. Okay. It's fucked up way to think. Are all men like this? Well, I don't know. I'm not a man. Isn't it funny how that works? But it's like, come on. Don't fucking, you gotta lead it.
They're really apex predators. They will they have basically no freaking clue.
Like if, okay, then why the fuck does feminism exist? Like if, oh my God. What could go wrong? Literally, it's dismantling all of feminism. Gotta love to see it though. You can't lie. Can't make this shit up.
they'll usually like run away or stay out of your way, unless if you're like threatening a cub or something and it's a mama bear, though. That's a whole different scenario. Men, I think, are a lot more spontaneous.
Why are they asking you this? Because they're getting down to the enforcement arm. And if you get there, everything that comes after it is fucking negated. Okay? So that's why it's important. You like feminism, you lead this fucking debate. You take that opportunity. Oh, you guys are trying to mansplain it? I don't know. Use your fucking Darvo tactics. Manipulate them. Do what you would do behind closed doors. Live.
They're obviously more intelligent, in my opinion. It could be the case where you have like a normal guy or something, and then something happens to a normal guy, you know, maybe isolation in the wilderness for a couple of years can drive anybody crazy. And then it results into them acting out, for example. It could be a predator, or it could be somebody who, you know, doesn't really care. Like, let's say it's a gay guy, whatever. Either way, the factor is more of an
I think a gay guy is not trying to get his dick. All right.
unknown versus if it's just like a black bear, which just seems like they'll stay out of your way most of the time. Now, if it's a grizzly bear, fuck that. I'll take my chances with even like a predator guy, because grizzly bears will kill you on sight.
Black bears will kill you on sight too.
The vast majority of black bears are pretty like...
Do you guys see how none of this fucking matters? Like, it's so important if you actually want to win that you lead this shit. Setting you up. Strategically, fairly. It's not that it's unfair. But, like, why are you answering? What fucking type of bear, Pixie? Stop it.
They don't know. They don't realize they're apex predators. It's kind of insane. I'm not joking. I did my research on this question. I'm not going crazy.
Do you think...
That's even more fucking embarrassing. Why? Why was that your answer? Minus 20. Horrible. Done. You did your research on this one. What? If you did, you wouldn't answer it like that. What are you talking about? Bitch to bitch right now. Negative 20. Out. Don't. It's almost as if, like, take Pixie out of it. It's almost as if when shit like this happens, people take things so fucking literally. I don't know how this happens. How is it happening? Somebody lay it out that watches a lot of different content. Why is this a thing? If you know your opponent, you would have known what this question was for. I knew what it was. Just based on repetition. I didn't have to research it. What type of bear? Kill me.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Maybe men should lead. What the fuck is that?
walked up to, I don't know, 100 random men on the street and just walked over and patted them on the head, versus you walked over to 100 random bears in the forest and walked over and patted them on the head, which one do you think would be more likely to attack you?
Yeah, the point is I wouldn't be patting the black bears in the head. I'll make sure like I'm staying my proper distance from them. With a guy, again, as we've established, like if black bears don't know that they're apex predator, which the vast majority don't, they're gonna stay out of your way, whatever. With a guy, even if it's like a friendly guy, like maybe he'll want to talk to me or like, you know, get towards me or whatever, and I can't really ascribe his intentions. With the black bear, we can stay out of each other's ways.
So from a utilitarian standpoint, though, wouldn't you be far more
What happens if they don't? You know?
likely to be helped by a man than a black bear?
I guess it
Like,
depends
based on
if I
your
need
current-
help in that scenario.
Well, based on your current level of forest survival skills, do you think you would be up to the task on your own?
I don't think the average man knows how to survive a forest either.
I think that the average man can survive in the forest a lot better than the average woman. They're just
maybe.
stronger, right? They're built stronger. They can just do tasks that most average women.
Yeah, but they're not going to try to fuck the man. I don't know. You lost this one, girl. That changes the question then, doesn't it, Andrew?
And can't do.
Yeah,
They
but I
just don't
also
have the
think,
required prerequisite strength, right?
well, I think women do have the strength to live in a forest, just like how men have the strength to live in the forest. But I understand your point. You're saying, let's say there's like a heavy log or something, you have to move out of.
Who told you this? No. If I am debating, oh my God. If I am debating feminism with somebody who knowingly says women should not vote. Okay, we know Andrew says women should not vote. Okay. That's like one area. Why would you say that? Are you out of your... It's like you are trying to debate that y'all be the same. I can't help you. If somebody says women should not vote, there's probably a reason that they're different than the men that can vote in some way. I'm not even saying I fucking agree with it, but like just by proxy, right? That's like obvious, right? Why are you entertaining that we could like live in the forest too? Fuck you. Like what? What? You can't make this shit up. What's even the point? What's even the fucking point? We're like strong too. No, bitch. You ever want to win a debate and you are a feminist debating Andrew way on the other end, you probably want to agree that there's differences, okay? Intersectionality is going to be your best fucking friend. You want to know your loophole? That's it. You can just defer to like other people and other places and stuff. We're not all the same. But when you treat women and men as the fucking same, oh my God, why would you do that? Why would she do that? Like, either you genuinely think that there is cherry-picked data that says, but we're strong too. And you genuinely believe that. How are you going to win over the side that vehemently disagrees with that? Probably by not saying, like, we're strong too. It's probably not the way to do it. Guns would be like an equalizer that they'd be like, oh, okay. But they might say something like, yeah, but how many times do women actually inch forward in a police chase? Why do they hesitate? Okay, there's things to counter. Why the fuck? Dumb. You can't make this shit up.
The way a man is going to be a lot better at that task than a woman.
Well, no, it's not just that. It's just even tool making requires physical strength.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I can still make a tool. Maybe it'll take me a little bit longer, but it's not going to be that.
Please be aware of the vocal fry. I love women dearly. But like, no ums, no likes. Okay, I can do it. But it doesn't look good when you do it against somebody that like makes fun of that. They like, do they not? Prattle. It's funny. No. It's like, you want to be assertive and mean and shit. As manly as fuck. Okay? What the I mean, like, yeah. And then just like carry on with just like this fry that it hurts. Don't get me wrong. Okay? I'm not off the hook. Obviously, I have a vagina. But like, come on.
And all be all. But the point that I'm trying to get across, or what I'm trying to say, is that there is a chance that I might get helped, but then I'm also, rolling the dice on whether there's a chance that the guy is like fucking insane and wants to like kill me or do bad things to me.
If you're such a savage, you can live in a forest. If you're just dropped in a forest with no equipment and you can just survive in there, then why aren't you savage enough to take care of yourself from a man?
What is it? There's a very big difference between being in a forest, like trying to scavenge for your own, like hunt for fish, whatever, start a fire versus having somebody
How would you
actively
hunt for
attack
fish
you.
if you were in a forest?
If there's like a, what is it, like a freshwater stream or lake or something.
Yeah, how? How would you do it?
Ideally, I would find some sort of like small insect or bait or something like that. Try to do something maybe with like the lining of like leaves or something, basically like a little.
You literally look stupid, with all due respect. It's all about appearances. Don't go over here. I don't know, Andrew, how the fuck do you get a fish? How do you do it? Tell me. What's the first step? Joke's on you, there's no body of water. You know, like, why are you answering it? Water is just like there.
Rod, maybe, and use that to try to lure in the fish.
That's how you would try to catch fish in a forest?
I'm not an expert at catching fish, but if our ancestors did it for thousands of years, I'm sure that I can figure out a way through trial and error.
Okay.
Okay.
That's not
So
bad.
I guess
I guess like that gets there. Just like don't entertain it.
it really doesn't have, I don't know where we were going with that. But
That was it. Let me just let
You asked the question, Andrew. Don't laugh.
this TTS come.
Lol Paladins donated $100. We're to see Pixie arguing W/Andrew for the
How do you properly skin or debone a fish, Andrew? Probably gonna choke on it and die. I don't know. This is insane. We're not even halfway in.
existence of God. Somehow I agree with her. We are flawed humans and cannot know real objective truth and his plan for us.
is that objectively true? Is that objectively true, Lil Paladins? Because if it's not objectively true, then why should I believe it? But anyway,
One quick thing. This is breaking news. I've received word that Desiree from the show yesterday, who she in an Instagram story
Spit it out, Brian.
states she is raffling off the underwear that she wore,
Oh.
fresh out, and I quote, "fresh out of the ass I used to put Andrew in his place."
What the fuck?
Yesterday on whatever. So make sure you subscribe and enter before I pick a winner Sunday night.
We can vote now too, bitch. Next. There was one time I was working at the bar and it was busy. And I was slaying drinks, doing well and taking care of customers. You have to be good. And there's a guy that I hear on the other side of the bar where the other girl was like, is there a girl that works here? And I just like get up there like, yeah, we can vote now too. Get the fuck to the other side, asshole. What do you want to drink? Bud Light it is, bitch. I'm savage, even in my normal job.
That's wild. That's
fucking
horrible.
degens.
That's disgusting, though.
She didn't learn.
Low key, like, what is? Who's this Desiree? Did you guys watch this episode? Should we do it another
Anyways,
day?
sorry. Continue on.
So anyway, over to feminism.
Okay.
So can we agree to a definition of feminism?
It's just something really boilerplate, basic.
So I give you my definition. You
Go
can
for
tell
it.
me if you like it or don't like it. I would say it's the move towards egalitarianism with the rejection of patriarchal systems.
Move towards egalitarianism with the rejection of patriarchal systems. No, don't accept that. Don't accept that. Because then that egalitarianism is saying that they're the same. Yeah, don't do that. You're going to want to broaden that, but also be specific. Tori, what the fuck? I know. It sounds like I'm talking out of my ass, but I'm not. It's a thing. Using broad language to get narrow, something like that. You're going to want to, okay. What are some of the reasons that Andrew rejects feminism or like women shouldn't vote? Okay. Women take the lesser demanding jobs, we kind of created jobs for them to have, the dumb ones, if you will, like HR. Okay. Just hear it out. So women will say, we're fighting for feminism, so we stop being discriminated against at work. Okay, it's the typical Kathy Newman, Jordan Peterson thing, which, like, when you get down to it, when you actually test and you account for all these things, the reason that women work different jobs than men has more to do with interests and not discrimination. There's like prejudice. It's like 2% when everything's accounted for. You can only get rid of some of the fucking sexist managers. Okay, we got hospitality. What are you going to do? Someone's got to make up for it, you know? You can only have so many things in place, right? That's going to be definitely a big talking point. What does feminism fight for? The equality with the sexes. Well, from what? What laws or what things do women have that men don't have? They don't have to sign up for selective service is going to be a big one, right? But technically, like, laws are the same, right? Okay. What else would feminism fight for? There's a lot of things internationally. I don't know, as like internationally, why though? Because their laws or even religious doctrines are oppressive, like truly oppressive. When I say truly oppressive, I mean they're like justifying marrying fucking children in one of them. Okay, I won't even go there. But it's like intersectionality. What other arguments does Andrew make? Women shouldn't vote because they're not the ones. It's kind of selective service. The enforcement arm. So with the enforcement arm, the big thing is like men allow them to even have these freedoms that they're still trying to fight for. What's the point? It's like a fake thing, which it is. They don't know that though. They don't realize that men view themselves as superior. What does that look like? I'm not even saying it as a bad thing, but they see women getting beaten, e-parred, and victimized. So by default, they are superior. Whether you don't like that, that's the reality. So you have to know that. It's like, maybe you guys should stop talking about the fact that those things are happening. Now you can kind of get in line and see why men don't, right? Because it would make them look weak. Why does that matter? It matters because it's everything. But you guys don't think that because you get everything handed to you. Not everything, but that's kind of where you can start to see the line of thinking. So when you bring up these issues and you view it from that lens, it really makes you wonder what the fuck you're fighting for, America. But anyways, okay, so I know Andrew's going to say those things. The three biggest points that you want to put in your definition, because you want to keep it broad, but you want to sound specific. That's that thing I was talking about. So broad in the sense of we want equal opportunity for all women, but when it comes down to it, we want to make it as most equal as it can be. It includes something with that equity and component. And the reason I would say that is because, you know, most of the time, at least in America, it's like things are kind of equal when you're just talking equal opportunity, right? But like if you're a feminist and you bring up any of those, see, this is what, it's because you're talking about equity. Okay, I don't need to go into it. You're going to want equality, equity, but you don't want to say the equity because that would be like a trigger word for Andrew to be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. So it's got to sound different, you know, equality. But, you know, at some points we can really get down to finding things to make it more the same. I don't know how you would say it. I'm just going off my head. What else would I say? I would acknowledge that biological difference because Andrew's main arguments are going to be off of that. Jobs, working hard jobs, who works more hours in the world through their lifetime, men, that job component, right? So something that feminists do really poorly is that they argue from this, we're all the same. We only have a little bit of different brain matter. We like all think the same. You're projecting, okay? Because they don't think the same as you, whether you want to pretend they do or not. We're alike, but we're not the same. And so essentially what this comes down to is you'll see a lot of arguments on the way we create our social structures or structures in general. Feminists call it the patriarchy. So it's important to know that if you're Andrew, which I'm sure he does, but when it comes to how they want to structure things, it's like very communitarian. I get some, you get some. Men, on the other hand, understand that this usually is bad for society. I'm not talking capitalism. That's not what I'm saying. You don't have to agree with capitalism to. What we're really talking about is like meritocracy. I can't even say the word. We're talking, you work hard, you get paid hard. Okay. It's not always capitalism, but I find that people will mistake in these. Don't do that. Okay. In either side. But it's like most people can justify why if you work hard, you get paid hard. It's a lot easier to justify it than it is the other way. The issue that feminists have is that they think that wanting to just do it for everybody is going to appeal to that side. You need to appeal to the side. You're walking into territory where you are not liked. You need to appeal. And you can do that without you can do that without sounding stupid. You can do that without saying things like the hierarchy thing is like your main thing. I'm just thinking out loud. Okay, I'm getting off track. Okay, so definition. You want the equality, you want the equity, you want to acknowledge the biological differences. Many feminists do this, you might notice. I get that we're different and that we might have different roles, but we shouldn't be subjected to those roles. Like if I don't want to be a mother, I shouldn't have to be. Yeah? Sorry. Okay. No offense. They're like, yeah, I get it. I'm just kidding. Okay. Like, okay. A feminist, you gotta do that biological difference. Why don't they do that? Because it probably triggers like the trans argument. But you can get around this. I would have to listen to this right now and like point out if it sounds like it is trans exclusionary. And you're like, why does that matter? It does. Try to stay away from it because I'm not saying that you can't. There's ways to have good debates on trans issues. The issue is that a lot of times it will completely dismantle your entire arguments, or argument, I should say. It dismantles your entire worldview like that. Avoid it if you can. Normal people understand there's nuance in it. It's not going to appeal over here, though. I'm trying to think of what else to put into it. You want to narrow it, get specific, like about the biological differences, but you want to keep it broad. Why would you want to keep it broad? So you can appeal to intersectionality, like I said in the beginning. Okay. I'll shut up.
When you're saying egalitarianism,
Equality and equity.
I'm not sure if I 100% agree with that, but we'll say yes.
So then what's your
You're going to have to say it. Be specific. I think that feminism is going to, I think that feminism has started out advocating for equal opportunity between both genders, but that over time, we can understand that you're going to need a little bit more work in order to make sure that these areas are more equal than not. We understand that like the first part isn't enough, something like that. Like Andrew wants to say egalitarian, and he's probably going to be good faith about it and give you like grant you certain things that probably shouldn't, like he probably wouldn't with other people. It's like, oh my God, talk about a fucking, tell me how that's not fucking feminism. My God. You want to word it specifically, okay?
Definition.
Well, no. I'm gonna agree with it in general, but I know some people take that and then they bring it to an extreme. They're like, oh, so you mean like I'm trying to think of an example.
Are you full, by the way? Because people
Killer of Cereal donated $100. Presuming prepositions is preposterous. I propose a pedantic posturing proliferated by poor practice. Must go back to school. If only there were a university I could sign up to based around debating.
Right. That's actually a really good point. He's saying that you're actually presupposing even the idea of the subjective being in the box has the requirement of knowledge. So, I mean, that's the point. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Over to feminism. The idea on feminism, the rejection of patriarchy, and the movement towards egalitarianism. Do you agree?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to assume that we're being like good faith right now because some people will be like, oh.
Your job in this debate right now is to counter his definition and give yours so that it benefits you. If you're being good faith, stop it. Okay? We already explained what a good way to test for good faith. It is your job. That's all you technically can do right now. Be assertive. No, I actually reject that definition. I think we can get a little bit more specific. When we say egalitarianism, okay, do you always have to do this? No. Should you do this in this instance? Yes. Why? Because when you're doing topics that you can almost never convince the other person otherwise, really contentious shit, right? Schmishmorshin debates, pro-life, pro-choice, immigration. Think of your very immigration, the wall, very contentious issues. The only thing you can technically do when it is not your burden, let's say, is argue on those semantics. That's literally it. And so it might go back and forth for a while. A lot of times people just will concede. This is not that instance. Because you're not going to convince anybody, you better get fucking specific, okay? Or broad, depends on the context. So, should they go back and forth a while, she better fucking put her foot down and get specific, but broad at the same time. Sounds like a fucking contradiction. Like, goddamn.
You know, you want like equality and like equity, do me, and then maybe that means I don't want equity, I'm not sure. But like you believe in that? That means that
So a dumb feminist, no offense, might see Andrew and be like, okay, he's not going to be okay with the equity component, so I'm just going to say equal opportunity. What's wrong with that? Andrew can be like, you don't think women have equal opportunity? How are women not allowed to apply to be a construction worker, right? That's like easy to see. But if you say equity, it's like, which like Andrew saying egalitarianism, fine, you could do that, but it's not the same thing as saying, is laying out the equality and then laying out equity without saying equity. Okay, just trust me, bro. I probably explained it already. Just be specific, but be broad.
You know, you think like both a guy and girl, despite of their qualifications, should be in the same like, you know, military bracket or whatever.
Okay.
I'm using a random example. And it's like, well, no, only if they meet the requirements to be in that bracket. Does that make sense? Like people will take it and think that, I mean, on the basis of gender, it means that they should be exactly 100% the same, even.
You better know the fucking fireman shit if you are going to say that shit. My God, give me a fucking break. Don't ask him. Tell him. Don't even say that. If we have to lower the way so that women can even get there, like, there's just so much. There's so much. It's like, yes, it's equity, but don't say that. Don't say that. This is stressing me out. I'm
if
gonna
they're
have a
not
heart
as equally
attack.
qualified.
Yeah, I don't think men and women are interchangeable widgets, or that feminists even say that they are.
Okay. Just
Yeah.
clarifying. Okay, we're good then.
Yep. So, I mean, I think that that's fine.
Okay.
Right. So if your idea there is that their ontology is different, men and women, their being is different.
I don't. What do you mean by being like?
Well,
their
they're not
spiritual-
they're not interchangeable widgets. So what we would call telos or purpose,
He's
or
so nice.
the things that they're
Oh my
interested
God.
in, maybe from your perspective, are going to be different than the things women are interested in, and that's going to be innate somewhat.
Yeah, I'm.
Because otherwise, then we do have a problem of you thinking they're interchangeable widgets. So if you think their ontology is exactly the same, that men and women are exactly the same, then we do have a problem.
Yeah,
That was a great way to set that up. Great way.
So I think if I.
She obviously is going to want to reject this. Obviously. Why, though? Why would you want to reject that? Chat. Why do you want to reject that? Because, okay, so what Andrew is saying is, like, most of the time, differences between men and women are innate, right? Probably. It probably has to do with our makeup on some level. Environment changes stuff. Yeah, but it's innate. That's still kind of innate, right? Sure. He's getting her to agree to this. She's like, kind of, but if you're a feminist, you're probably going to agree on some level. Just to keep it really simple, I'm not trying to be super generalized, but in terms of debates, most of your best arguments have to do with social conditioning to some level. There's a lot more arguments to show evidence that social conditioning can change the way people make choices later. If you agree with Andrew here and you reject that interchangeableness that he put it, you're going to set yourself up to fail. Just being honest. It's a great way for him to say that and get you to agree. It's advantageous for him. Don't do that.
Had to draw it out again. I would
Isn't it
say
the
that-
worst?
drawing.
Please
Yeah.
explain.
Drawings, go ahead.
Worst.
There's probably like a scale of behaviors. I don't even like doing it this way, but I'm gonna put man, woman, even though I think this is dumb because I think there's just human behaviors in general that both men and women have. But I think there's
You're talking about a gender scale?
yeah, essentially.
X amount of these qualities make you a woman, X amount of these qualities make you a man.
Stay away
Well,
from
no,
it.
that's why I'm saying that's where
Stay away from it. Why am I saying stay away from it? Tori, we were just talking about we're going into trans area, right? Got to be able to pick up on this shit. Stay away from that.
I would disagree. I would say that there's certain behaviors that are just human behaviors that both men and women have.
Yeah, I agree. So I would say anything that you would consider like a gendered emotions nonsense, anything you'd consider specifically a gendered behavior would be nonsense, right?
Okay.
Like if you can have tom girls, for instance, they're still females. You can have men that do little fucking tea parties or whatever. They're still men, right? They're still males.
Yeah.
So I would agree with all of that, right?
Okay,
So
cool.
I don't think that there's a specific I just think that the men and women perceive them differently, and that men and women are built differently.
Yeah.
From conception, they're built differently. Their brains work differently, and their bodies are different.
Yeah, I think there's definitely differences in body, especially in strength. The brain argument is a lot more complicated because then it becomes a question of like nature versus nurture. Like the whole idea of like female and male brain is like pretty contentious. A lot of it, like,
Yeah, but if you have one sex that's stronger, right, physically stronger on average, and the male sex is much stronger on average than women, No, it's significantly stronger. The tailoring of society necessarily around that would create different interests, right?
Yes, at certain points. I think the problem is that as we have a society has evolved, and as we've had like more like, let's say, machinery or even like other things have just come and spawned essentially, our DNA and like biological predispositions also somewhat slightly change, even if it's like ever so slightly. So do you know like epigenetics?
Yeah, but I mean, epigenetics wouldn't even explain this in 60 years. That's insane. even from an epigenetic standpoint.
Well, from an epigenetic standpoint, like our genes are like, like they're constantly changing to our environment, basically.
It doesn't happen in one generation.
It doesn't happen in one generation.
Or
but
two, or three.
No, well, it can happen pretty quickly. I mean, there's like, what is it, epigenetic studies on like, for example, women who have had children or were pregnant.
Okay, you got to do me one favor, though.
Yeah.
You got to say women and not woman.
I am English is my second language.
Got to say women and not women.
Okay, call me out.
All right.
Women.
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 Woman.
No.
WEHMAN.
That's.
I could say mujer if that's easier in Spanish.
Just say women.
Woman. I swear to God, I'm not being crazy right now.
All right, fine.
It's not me trying to be an asshole. It's a second language.
Wait a minute. That's actually a perfect thing to talk about. Isn't it like before the age of 14, you're conditioned with wherever you're born or something? Sorry if you can hear
studies
my mom.
Of women who
Women.
It's like if I bring over somebody who's from Poland to America after the age of 14, they never lose their accent. I forget what it's called.
Who are, let's say, like pregnant or whatever during like a time of strife, starvation, resources are low, and like how that like literally genetically affects their offspring to be able to like retain like fat better, for example.
Why did a child come out with anxiety from the womb? They probably had PTSD, the mom, at some point.
Basically things that can happen within like one generation, essentially.
That wouldn't apply to the societal social characteristics of the entirety of a nation when it came to the interests of men and women.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that if we can already see things like that within like one pregnancy and see like DNA changes, that it's not a giant leap of faith to assume that like over time, especially as society has like more and more changes, you'd start seeing
What kind of changes? What kind of changes would you expect to see?
Let's see. In a society where physical labor and force becomes less important, essentially.
Like right now.
I hate when we go here. Oh my God, my mom's probably going to be yelling. My mom has dementia, sorry. Okay, there's certain conditions, mental health conditions, feelings, if you will, because it's this where they're going. There's certain mental health conditions that fall on the y-axis that makes men more predisposed to these conditions. Move on. I wouldn't even go there because every argument you would have on it would be negated by this. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, or like how it has been.
What would you expect to see?
Yeah, you would expect to see basically societies that start centering intelligence as a more important component.
Why do people who are... Have you guys actually... I won't say that. I don't have the right words to say about fucking mate selection and autism. Y'all already probably know my point if you've watched me before.
Or start selecting based more on, expected intelligence, whatever, than just pure brute strength.
Yeah, but society's not becoming smarter.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know about that.
Okay.
IQ slated to continue to reduce on average.
Where are you getting this?
Well, I'll give you the numbers.
Yeah.
But not only that, let me bring this up as well.
Don't give me just the numbers. Give me the study.
Yeah. But let me give you the numbers on this as well. This is all CDC information, by the way. If I were to take what you're saying at face value, that necessarily through epigenetic leaps, that men and women by the way, would suddenly begin to have different interests.
Not suddenly, it would be gradual, but over
Well,
time.
but how? You said, what do you mean gradual? Like how long? Because you said it could happen very,
It
very
can happen
quickly.
very quickly.
Well,
but
how quickly?
it could theoretically, or certain changes could happen within a generation.
Yeah. So this
But-
is CDC info. Most female jobs. This is according to the the BLS. These jobs have the highest percent.
As a society as a whole, if labor is less important because we have machinery to do it instead,
Mm-hmm.
you
Wait, did I accidentally just skip it? Hold on.
would find both men and women more in service sector jobs, which
But
we
you're
have seen.
not. You're seeing mostly women for what we would call TLOs or PERP. Substantially answered your questions so that you understand where I'm coming from my worldview.
Yes, just a lot of it, like
Yeah, but if you have one sex that's stronger, right? Physically stronger on average, and the male sex is much stronger on average than women. Now, it's significantly stronger. The tailoring of society necessarily around that would create different interests, right?
yes, at certain points. I think the problem is that as we have a society has evolved, and as we've had like more like, let's say, machinery or even like other things have just come and spawned essentially, our DNA and like biological predispositions also somewhat slightly change, even if it's like ever so slightly. So do you know like epigenetics?
Yeah, but I mean,
Okay, that's where I thought we were. Okay, hold on. Sorry.
Service-based jobs versus manual labor jobs in the United
I feel
like how long? Because you said it could happen very,
It
very
can
quickly.
happen very quickly.
Well,
but
how quickly?
it could theoretically, or certain changes could happen within a generation.
Yeah. So this
But-
is CDC
like the video if you guys haven't liked it already.
info. Most female jobs. This is according to the the BLS. These jobs have the highest percent.
As a society as a whole, if labor
Okay, I wasn't insane. Good thing we went back. It looks like something was chopped out. I don't know what it was, but something naughty. Anybody know what? You got the tea? Tell me the tea.
is less important because we have machinery to do it instead, you would find both men and women more in service sector jobs, which
But
we
you're
have seen.
not. You're seeing mostly women in those jobs, and that's what I'm going to show you.
Yeah, no, the amount of men who are now like in STEM in general, like the United States as a whole is a service-based
Men have always
economy.
been in STEM. Men have always
No,
been
no,
dominant
not
in STEM.
just not always. We have seen
No,
an
men have
increase.
always been dominant
Yeah, I'm
in
not.
STEM.
I'm saying that doesn't matter because I'm saying that when we compare manual labor jobs
Mm-hmm.
to service jobs, we have seen a vast increase in service-based jobs versus manual labor jobs in the United States. That is just objectively true.
Yeah,
because
that
we are a
women
service-based
women
economy.
do, which is the exact same jobs
No,
they were
men
always
have
doing.
also done more service-based jobs.
Yeah.
More people are lawyers.
It's impossible for me to evaluate what the fuck is going on with a jump like that. We're just going to have to move on. Genuinely. That just like totally, I'm not following. Like, I don't know whose original point. I don't know if somebody had like a nip slip or something. Like, why was it cut out? Love you.
but
Doctors,
most
software, even just-
wait. Men have always been in those fields.
That's
always been in those fields.
Maybe I'm not explaining my point clearly enough. The point
Was it the Matrix?
that I'm trying to get across is that as manual labor has become less important in the United States, there is an increase of men
You ungrateful bitch. The men right now. Like, oh, okay. Sick.
doing more of those jobs. So before it might have been like, hey, maybe I'm gonna go
But
work in
why
the factory.
don't we?
Wait, let me finish.
Yeah,
let me
but this
finish.
makes the argument
No,
makes no
please
sense.
let me finish.
I'll steel man the argument. That way, you know I understand it.
Okay.
The argument that you're making is, as these other service sectors have opened up, men are gravitating into those service sectors instead of just manual labor, right?
Yes.
Then how come women aren't gravitating towards the manual labor sections?
Because the manual labor sections have been either taken over by technology.
No, they haven't.
Or
Roofing?
Who told you that was good to say? Just concede here. Like, God, if you don't have like an actual art, because we don't fucking want to, bitch. You know, like, what are you doing? because the more electronics took over. Well, if that were the case, why are men hurting themselves on the job? You know what I mean? It's like, God damn, why do men fall from large buildings? Like, what? Like, stop it. What are you talking about? The McDonald's worker now has a fucking kiosk? Is that what it's called? Sorry. I'm just here for a good time, not a long time. What? Like Walmart? Like, what jobs? Be specific. I can't. I'm going to have a heat stroke because I'm heated. That made no sense. We are at 156. I have been ranting. We can dismantle the rest of this nonsense, figure out what's going on. I'm going to try to find the clip. I'm going to find it. What the fuck was said? We're lost. She looks delusional. It's a delusional argument. Is it fair with the edit? I don't know. It's probably dumb. Probably. Not because she's a feminist, but this argument is ludicrous, okay? Obviously, if I was ruling the world, okay, I can't just like get rid of men. No, we need them for stuff. We need them to build. Love you. And we need dads. Okay, could you imagine? Why does nobody talk about the fact? Could you imagine a world without dad jokes for a moment? Oh, shoot me. I'd rather die. Okay, Dad, you're walking funny. I don't see anyone laughing. I love him. Okay. We need dads. We don't need men. We need dads. Okay. Love you. Like the video, comment, subscribe. We'll do the rest of this shit tomorrow. I'll bring snacks. Okay, bye.